What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. I hope everyone's doing well. Olivia is out taking care of family stuff. I am with you tonight, and it is good to be here. You may notice a difference in the camera, and you're like, wait a second, something looks different. Matt doesn't look like he usually does. And, you know, I was looking at my video today, and I'm like, dude, why do I look so puffy and white and ghostly? What the hell's wrong with it? I don't look like this. You guys have seen the photos. I mean, look at that. I look freaking pudgy as shit. Like, I worked too hard for this. My lighting. What happens when you don't have features and you don't get the proper lighting? Your face is like a giant moon. So I spent some time working on the lighting and realized that I was way overdoing the lighting. And this is what we've got. I feel much better. So good to have everybody here. I have a good show tonight. I know you guys saw T.S. Dixon last night. I thought it was a blast. I hope you had a good time. Am I feeling better? Sorta. But we're going to push through and have a good night. Avs lost last night. That's cool. No problem. They played a good game. Took up single overtime to actually have the Stars win. We'll see you in 3 minutes. We'll be back. Hang out. See, Amy just said it. Wait, something is different here. What the heck is going on? I told you. No nap, Melanie. Go whip the Twitter people in shape.
Are you tired of being so confused? You feel like you're more fucked up than the lies on the evening news. Well, just step right in. We can talk about it all as friends. And if you want, we can hug and kiss and make up for the party ends. Agree or disagree, stop offering me. 'Cause I'm everything you want, damn sure what you need. I won't tell no lies, back up on the facts with truth. And if you can't get down with that, you must be somebody's dad.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me show with your hosts Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Let's get the hockey conversation out of the way. We'll do it quickly. Number one, it took them an overtime, full overtime to beat the Colorado Avalanche. And Colorado outplayed them in the overtime, outplayed them in the first and second, and have outplayed them the entire series so far. But the problem is you have Drew in on the ice. You've got Eric Johnson on the ice. And you've got Woods on the ice all at the same time. Horrible call by Bednar. Horrible. And Girard. I mean, those players on, one on each line is okay. But all together is the worst line hockey's ever created. Why that line was on the ice, I don't know, but it was a liability, and they stood around and watched the puck in the front of the net. It's going to go in. It's a mistake. He'll never make that mistake again, and it's one that teaches them a lesson. We still took one in their barn, and the whole rule of the Stanley Cup playoffs is the following. I'll tell you right now. Until you lose at home, you're not in trouble. Period. That's it. If you lose at home, you're in deep trouble. And if you don't lose at home, you're good. You got to take one on the road. Avs already did that. Now all they have to do is win at home. So I feel very confident. Playoffs look very good right now. All my predictions have come true. Bennington is being run over because Bennington's a jerk, and St. Louis should be used to this. And Colorado did it to him, and Chicago did it to him, and I'll do it to him. And nobody likes Bennington. That's why. Edmonton, the Kings. I predict the Kings to sweep this series. I think the Kings are going to take all 4 games. I don't think Edmonton has the spine, and they certainly don't have the goaltending and the defense. Can't wait for Florida tonight. New Jersey went exactly the way I thought it was with Carolina. I think Carolina they lose one of those games. So it's in full swing, and I'm not talking trash about anybody. I love everybody. I love hockey. And if you love hockey, that's great too. Avs lost. No big deal. The Nuggets lost too, and so did the Astros. So, well, actually, did the Astros lose? I don't remember. Yeah, the Astros lost too. So it was a bad day for my sports teams. It's okay. Moving on. I hope everyone's doing well. This is the Don't Unfriend Me show. Show goal tonight's 300. It's right down here. You can see it. May 16th. Mark the calendars. 6 o'clock till midnight. I might have to extend it to midnight. I'm just letting you know. Because it looks like we're having more people than we thought. Mr. Dixon signed up, which means we have only 1 slot left, which is reserved. So we're full up, so I might have to extend it another hour and go till midnight. I mean, this could be pretty big. So we're May 16th. We're doing a $10,000 fundraiser. One of our fans of the show, Mr. Chuck Pedersen, is going to match if we match whatever we make up to $10,000. So, we're pretty excited. So we're going to buy a new set with that, and that's where the money's going to go. And I hope you can participate. It's going to be a great show. We've got Chris Tonto Peranto from 13 Hours, and an amazing guy, tactical trainer, author, podcaster, has a great podcast. Would love to be on his show someday, but all good. And we're going to have him. We're going to have Damani Felder, T.S. Dixon. We're going to have Jason Shepard from Wimkin on there. All good stuff. So stop on by May 16. Mark your calendar. Tonight, we're going to go over some of the things we missed last night because I didn't want to do that. Donations will come in later. So if you wanted to donate to the show, you can go to thedumbshow.com/donate or pick up some beautiful clothes at thedumbshow.com/thedumbshow.com. That's it. So go there, pick up hats, shirts, all that stuff. All right. Hello to all my Wimkin and Rumble peoples. So let's get into this. We've got a lot to do tonight, and it's gonna be busy. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but LGBTQ MS-13. It officially looks like this is what the Democratic Party is now espousing. Not just pedophiles in MAP, not just rainbow-spotted unicorns. Not just two-spirit guacamole unicorn, one-legged pegged pirates with one angel wing. Now we've got MS-13 officially on the rainbow flag, and good. They needed a little toughness, and I think they got it because the Liberal Party has officially embraced and accepted MS-13 into their bosom, and better late than never. And you may have heard just recently that 4 representatives went down south into El Salvador and said that they were going to stay. And I want to show you, hi, buddy. I want to show you what was said by Mr. Robert Garcia. Robert is a chronic, I want to be more important than I am, and he is moving on up in the ranks of the Democratic Party. And when Mendez was arrested and indicted for gold bars and taking bribes, they needed another Mexican to stand up, and, well, here's Garcia, because Democrats are all about making sure that they've got every diverse background represented. Here is Mr. Garcia.
Hey, it's Congressman Garcia. I am here in El Salvador with a group of House Democrats advocating for the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia and, of course, checking in on so many folks who have been sent here without due process. The Supreme Court has ordered unanimously that Kilmar Garcia should come back home to the United States. We also know that he was sent here wrongfully. The Trump administration admitted that. We have met now with the U.S. Embassy here, the ambassador. We're meeting with advocates on the ground who are organizing here in El Salvador. We've talked to Abrego Garcia's family, which is heartbreaking. And more importantly, we're here to raise awareness that Kilmar needs to come home. We need to build support here in El Salvador, but also in the United States. He must come home. And I'll say this lastly. The president defying a Supreme Court order is a fire alarm moment in this country. We cannot stand for it, and we must ensure that he's held accountable.
Supreme Court didn't say that. Supreme Court said they have to facilitate, which is very different. So for an example, let's just say somebody says, I'm going to bake cookies for the PTA. And the other person says, okay. And the leader of the PTA says, do me a favor. If she cooks those cookies, will you go pick them up and bring them to us? I'm going to need you to facilitate that. Versus, I need you to go down to Peggy's house and bake the cookies and bring them back here. And you need to do that. And that is an order. A legal and lawful order. Well, the Supreme Court can't do that. That's not the way the Supreme Court works. Their job is to judge the constitutionality of things, like legislation, like bills, like proposals, like decisions made. They can't execute some sort of punitive measure. That's the Department of Justice's job. And the Supreme Court of the United States is a part of the equal branches of government that essentially adjudicates law. So when they say you're going to have to facilitate, which means be open and assist in any way if El Salvador wants to bring him back. If not, then so be it. That's it. End of story. But the problem that I have is that these guys and girls and she, gems said they were going to stay. Hi, Tina Savage. Why is Amy Coney Barrett listed as a dummy when she's opposing every Trump policy and allowing MS thing? She's not opposing every Trump policy. That's not true. Second, she's not a dummy. She's holding up a sign that says dummies because it was a blank notepad. So that's why. Really? It took Dane, you've been watching the show for how many years? And you just saw that in the intro? I don't have a particular fondness for Amy Coney Barrett. I don't root for judges. I don't like judges. I'm Abraham Lincoln on this one. I think the Supreme Court has way too much power. That's just me. But anyway, moving on. This is the video that makes me scratch my head because Congresswoman Maxine Dexter just said yesterday, I'm not going to return. Yes, I'll talk about it, Karen. Doty's right. I'll explain what happened. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, I'm going to be like Benny Johnson. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Anyway, guys. Congressman Maxine Dexter. Hey guys, it's your boy Matty. I'm right here. Somebody compared me to Benny today, and they said, "I hope you're just like Benny, and I hope you get that fat paycheck that he got from Russia." I'm like, who the watches Benny? Anybody? I watched his Christmas special. It was very moving. That's about it. I don't watch Benny. Anyway, so most of you may know what that's from, but Benny likes to flex in front of the camera when he's touching himself. Congressman Maxine Dexter said yesterday, I'm not coming home until Kilmar Garcia is released. I'm not coming home. I'm staying in El Salvador. And I refuse. Well,
Hey, it's Congressman Garcia.
Congresswoman Dexter.
That changed real fast because she's home. And I'm kind of like, liar. You guys, all the questions. Livia's not here. Hang tight. I'm going to get to everything. Did you see the New Mexico judge that had a legal gang member living in her house? Cora is the judge's name. No, it's New Mexico. Doesn't surprise me. Everybody's a gang member, even your neighbors. Sorry, no offense. I'm sorry to my New Mexico people, but that's a shithole. Albuquerque is the worst city ever in America. I'm sorry. I'd rather live in Chicago. Seriously. At least I could, exchange rounds and defend myself. New Mexico, you don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from the back. It's coming from the side, coming from the ceiling. It's everywhere. Here's the rest. Listen to this. This lady is such a shill. I'm never coming home. Not until Kilmar's coming home. White House is like, we don't care. Stay there. We're going to pass legislation. You four, stay there so we can go ahead and pass every piece of legislation that we want. And if Mike Johnson had any spine, he would have put every piece of legislation forward on the spending bill and anything else that we wanted because they were down 4. Down 4. Seriously? You have 4 Democrats who are MIA, who are in Venezuela, and you don't pass every piece of legislation you possibly can? Give me a break.
Congresswoman Dexter, question for you. As Representative Garcia mentioned, you've all met with the U.S. ambassador to El Salvador and to call on him to advocate for Abrego Garcia's release. Are you confident he will be released?
No.
That is absolutely in the hands of the Trump administration.
No, it's not. He's an El Salvadorian. What do you want to do? Send in SEAL Team 6 for an MS-13 gang member who beats his wife? Allegedly.
There is no reason to believe if they advocate and request the return of Abrego Garcia to the United States that it will happen. The El Salvadoran government's under contractual obligation with them. They are paying for his retention. All they have to do is request him to be coming home. And as Congressman Garcia said, there is no reason to believe after our briefing with the ambassador at the U.S. Embassy in El Salvador that the U.S. government has taken any action to facilitate his return home.
That's because facilitation doesn't require action. It doesn't require it. You have to activate a situation in order to facilitate it. Listen, folks, we read it last night on the definition. I'll do it again. Just so we all feel good about the literal meaning. Make an action or process easy or easier. That's it. It's not an action. Your job is to make it easier, to assist. It's not their job to begin the action. That would have been a lawful order. They can't do that. So they say if he wants to come back from the El Salvadorian government's on a whim from them, you have to facilitate it. You know what to facilitate means? Process it. Accept him back. And arrest him the moment he gets here. And go ahead and hold a hearing. Arrest him on what charge? Well, it's simple. He came into this country illegally and then sat down for 2 different hearings where they told him to deport, then got married, made up a story about gang members wanting to kill him. Go for an innocent Maryland man. Why would MS-13 want to kill him or other rival gangs if he wasn't in MS-13? Interesting. I don't know. And that stay is not a legal parameter for eternity. It's a temporary order. And the moment that they labeled MS-13 as a terrorist organization, his ability to stay in this country ended. That's it. He's not coming home. Garcia is home. This should be like he is risen. He is El Salvadorian. He's home. Give me a break.
For the Supreme Court.
I want to know why she's here. She was supposed to stay in El Salvador. What was the water? Did you have the runs? Did you try some of the beans and rice and drink some of the water? You don't drink. Listen, if it's a South American country, if it is anything that even resembles something that looks like Mexican something, don't drink the water. I don't care if you're in Cuba, El Salvador, Puerto Rico, Mexico. It's all Mexico. Don't drink the water. Everybody knows that. And don't sleep with a woman with 5 men's names tattooed on her arm with a line through them. Simple rules when you're in a Mexican country.
Request.
I want to bring you.
Congresswoman Deck.
Why is she home?
I am here in El Salvador. With the group
we
of
know
House
you were in El Salvador, but you're not in El Salvador anymore. So I want to question Maxine with her dedication. Why aren't you still there? A little confused. You promised you weren't coming home. Said you're not leaving without the MS-13 gang member. I hope your moving company has a boat. You're going to need it. Here's her testimony. Oh, it's going to be a fun night. We got some great stuff. Here's the testimony.
Salvador. I flew here last night with 3 of my colleagues to demand that Kilmar Abrego Garcia be released. He is being held in violation of a Supreme Court order expressly telling the Trump administration to effectuate and facilitate his
No. Facilitate. No. That's a lie. That's a lie. Listen.
Effectuate and facilitate.
Nope, they didn't say effectuate. Nope. Facilitate. Not effectuate. Sorry, you're bad in words.
Facilitate his coming home. That is being ignored. This is not just a threat to all people in the United States who could be illegally abducted, detained, and transported internationally against their will, but it is a fact that our president does not recognize the branches of government and the balances of power. This is what we all have been calling a constitutional crisis, yet it is more severe than anything we've seen. We cannot stay silent. We must stay loud. I am here because I refuse to wait.
For another 24 hours. We got to get loud, people. Trust me, you guys are loud enough. Seriously. Loud enough. Hey, Brandon Abbott from Facebook. I know I dropped you a little challenge as you were using ChatGPT to respond on every single post that I made. I noticed it because, listen, dude, when you learn a thing or two, you'll understand that there are some basic things that are really easy to spot. One of them is who uses ChatGPT and who doesn't. And I'm not going to say that I don't use ChatGPT to proofread things. I'm not even going to say that I don't use ChatGPT to ensure that my facts are correct and use it for research. But when you literally train the AI model to write for you, it's about as obvious as white on rice. So why don't you call in? I left you the link. You haven't shown up to the show yet. I don't think you will. I just put crickets on our post, Bradley. I don't think you could argue your way out of a wet paper bag. I think you use ChatGPT for everything, and I'm calling you out. So please, call into my show. I love you trolls. You guys can't even breathe. And this is what happens. I post something, and you guys get so upset. You're all apoplectic, just melting down. And you just diarrhea all over the post. And I just systematically just out of the park, just crush you. And then I'm like, well, why don't you call in? You're like, I don't have the time to call into your show. I'm busy and I'm on my 15-minute smoke break and I got to get back to waiting my tables. Or I got a set in 5 minutes to play in front of 6 people at the Holiday Inn Express Lounge. It's always a musician. Just call in. We've got a phone number for you. And it's really easy now. It's a new one, 276-200-2105. How easy? How many twos can we have in there? And the reason why there's so many twos is it's going to let you know what place you're going to come in when you call. That's really why there's so many twos. It's just to let you know. I have one printed on all my shirts too, so you can see what place you're always going to come in when you try to race me. Just call in. You're tough. You can do it. Use your big words. You can even use ChatGPT. I'll let you look every answer up, and I'll give you 30, 40 seconds to do so. Come on, Bradley. Stop being such a pussy. Anyway, tired of these Democrats. Really, I'm tired of it. And I cannot tell you, T.S. Dixon said it best last night. He said it the best, and walked you through it from start to finish. How simple it is just to check one thing he said and identify that it was true. The next thing was true. And it was just a series of knocking down pens and throwing strikes. The guy knows his stuff. You got to read his book. If you haven't had a chance, do it. We're going to have it for sale. I got some news is that he's going to be on the show on the 16th. I have obliterated this book in the mind's eye. I mean, I've tagged, so you can actually see stuff. The lighting's perfect. Look at that. You can actually see the book now. Anyway, you can even see the writing. See, lighting's perfect. It was too bright. Anyway, I'm decimating this book. The Woke Mind Viruses, T.S. Dixon. He's going to give us one to give away on the 16th, autographed by him. I want the copy. You kidding me? I better get one. But we're going to give that away. And if you haven't read the book, do it. And we will have them for sale on our site. We're working out a price right now of how we can sell them on our site. And we'll get them shipped out to you. We're really excited about it. It's a good book. You'll love it. And he wants to come on again, and he's going to be on again. Okay? Next topic. This one really chafes my chaff. And can't stand it. You know, some of us have been fighting this in Montgomery County, Maryland, and Fairfax, Virginia, and Loudoun County. And Mello says, Jeebus, I have to change my speed dial again. Yeah, but it's not too hard. 276-200. You can even say it like a Canadian. 276-200. 2105. I like that number. It's what it's all about. Oh, you betcha. It's a good number. Really simple to dial and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, we've been fighting this fight. And now I can't tell you how many times we've had so many things go viral on the site. And I'll tell you. They always come, and when we talk about transgender, we talk about the LGBTQIA push, they always go, we're not grooming kids. As they're literally standing in a Target with the rainbow section and you know, or they have drag queen story hour with chaps that have no ass. All chaps are assless, by the way. And you know, they have a giant dong hanging off their swimsuit. Yeah, you know, this is great. I can show you 3 videos in the last 4 hours where people are taking their kids into drag queen story hour. T.S. Dixon has the first chapter of his book talks about it. And why they do that. The sexual depravity that they push out. Listen, I'm not some Christian scholar. I'm not like going to sit up here and tell you that I am not without sin. Olivia and I are definitely an active couple, and we do our things in the privacy of our own bedroom. But the difference is we're not going out to schools and saying, hey, look at Mr. and Mrs. Spear, and doing public demonstrations or using diagrams or putting it in books of what we do in the confines of our own bedroom. That's nobody's business but ours. You know what I mean? But every time they come on, they say the following: show me the books. I can't show you the books. Oh, see, you don't have the books, do you? No, I do have the books. I've read every book. We've read 37 books that have been challenged in Virginia and Texas, in Florida, in Georgia, even in California. There's a list of like 274 of them, but the top 37, the most common in all those states, I've read every single one of them. And I can't show you the pictures. We couldn't even talk about it at the school board meetings. Otherwise, we were thrown out. When we started reading from the books or showed diagrams, they escorted us out, some of us physically. The Democrats come out. They're not grooming kids. We're not. These books are. There's nothing wrong with these books. It's not in grade school. Yeah, it is, and we've known it is, and we've told you. But you know what? I've given you the court cases. I've given you the newspaper clippings digitally. I've shown you video of my own phone at these meetings. You didn't believe, because you're liberals. You don't care about facts. You care about your feelings. You care about what you want. And anything that breaks your narrative, you're upset about it. Don't care. Hey, go Winterhawks. Love you all. Thank you, Bobby. I don't care if you're hurt and upset. I don't have to accept who you are. Hell, I don't even accept who my kids are half the time. Why should I have to accept a complete stranger in your neuroses? Why is that important to you for me to accept your sexual deviance? I don't ask you to come into my bedroom and take a look at the, I don't know, whatever's in my bedroom. I'm not going to tell you what's in my bedroom. Shh, the gimp is sleeping. So why do I need to come into your bedroom and oh, you know what? That's a nice dick, Peter. No, it's fantastic. It looks good. It's good, healthy little guy. Thanks. Why do you need me to justify that for you? Why do you need me to dignify that for you? I don't. I just need you to just acknowledge us. No, I don't want to acknowledge you. I don't know you. I don't like people. This is why I have a podcast. I don't want to acknowledge you. Now, if someone tries to hurt you based upon what you do in the bedroom, I'm going to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. I'll go to war with you. Well, I'll fight for you. You got it. No problem. Whatever you need. But if you want me to go ahead and expose my children to your weird shit, no. Stay away. Get away from my kids. But now, Supreme Court are hearing cases, and they have an absolute massive responsibility. And if this is not 9-0, which it sounds like it's going to be 9-0, but if this isn't a 9-0, I'm telling you right now, every liberal judge is just screaming from the rooftops that sexualization of children is what they're all about. The moment any of those judges do that and vote, so if Sotomayor decides to go ahead and do that, if Amy Coney Barrett, which she won't, if she does, it's going to be 9-0. I'm almost positive, because politically, this is suicide. It's suicide for the Democratic Party. It's suicide for these judges. You can't endorse things that are against the law. And parents have a right not to control what their kids learn, but they have a right to opt out of learning. And Maryland removed this capability in the lower courts and said that parents could not opt out of certain teachings that their kids were receiving. And the justices are disgusted. Well, it's about effing time, because I've been disgusted for 4 years with Brandon Michon. You remember Brandon? You know, the angry dad. He kicked all this off. He is the father of this. He exposed these fools. We've been saying this for 4 years. We exposed LCPS. We exposed the Loudoun County School District. We exposed Richmond and Fairfax, Virginia. We're the ones also who exposed the father who was beat up after his daughter was raped, and another girl was raped after they removed a trans kid and put him in another school, and he did another rape. We exposed that. We exposed the cover-up of when they went on Facebook and doxed families who were Republicans and Trump supporters and put their information out there and told communities not to hire them, to go to their house and harass them. We're the ones who did that. I showed pictures on this book and got strikes from YouTube and Facebook. I showed you the photographs. I showed you the fellatio of a gardener filleting a 13-year-old boy. We showed you how they would show women how to insert foreign objects and vegetables in the areas that foreign objects and vegetables shouldn't have gone at that age. We expose these things. We expose the gay puppy story. And we did this for how long? And you guys are just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. You hate gay people. No, we don't. The gay people don't want you in their group. The worst thing that the LGB community did was bring in the T and Q. And they don't like you either, because they think you people are weird and sick and you're not gay. You've made a choice. They are sexually attracted to whoever they want to. And if you're going to tell me that I have never, at any point in my life, had a homoerotic fantasy, especially through puberty, I'd be lying to you. And anyone who says they never have, or even been disgusted by it in a dream, you're not being honest with yourself. At least for 1 second, you thought and said, nope, I don't like dick. Nope, I like women. Maybe you were in a locker room, maybe you had a dream and woke up and you're like, nope, I don't like it. Nope, don't want to be a part of that. And psychologically speaking, it is as normal as breathing. It is a part of growing up and going through puberty. And most people go, women, yep, Or a woman goes, men. Yep. And some people go, I want both. And some people say, I want a guy. But usually that is impacted by outward stimuli. Am I saying that there's not a chromosome factor here? Of course there is. But for anyone to say that it is not choice as well is lying. I have spoken to thousands of gay people, and I claim thousands of gay and lesbian people as friends. And I can say this because I worked at Apple. And these people have had wonderful conversations with me, and it always comes down to the truth. I always felt different, but it really started when I was exposed to a girl, or I was exposed to a boy, and in school, showering, or I had a thought about somebody, and it just happened. If not, people wouldn't stop being gay when they're 50 years old if it wasn't a choice, and they wouldn't start being gay at 50 years old if it wasn't a choice. And if it is who you are and what you are and you cannot stop it, then why are people fighting to choose to be straight, especially in this world? It is a choice as well as something that probably inherently is in you, just like alcoholism, just like any hereditary type problem, or what you would consider a problem, or eye color, or male pattern baldness, all of these things. These are natural. But to sit here and say, Christine Clark, thank you for your show and love you all. We love you all too. But to sit here and say that you're not sexualizing children, then why are you marketing to them? Somebody get Lucette type. Ugh, God. Hola, dice María, estás a favor que te diga, pero y debe obligato a Rosario. Sí, que esta manzana se usa para dar. Get off my page. Seriously. Don says, I'm married. I can't look at either. Listen, Ryan Reynolds is a good-looking dude. A little crazy like his wife. But, you know, a little Barry Manilow, a back rub, some baby oil. Maybe. If it's cold enough, I'll try anything once. So here's the thing. I don't have a problem with LGBT people. I have marched with gay people in pride parades when I worked at Apple. I adore, some of the best parents I've ever met are same-sex marriage couples. And you may not like that, but I don't care because I've seen them introduce male model figures in their life, and they know that. They know they need male model figures, and they put them in. And I am honored to know two of the greatest lesbians in the world who I consider like daughters. And they always keep me informed. And when they got married, man, I cried. I was so happy for them. They're two beautiful people. And they're not like the butch lesbians. I mean, these are two good-looking girls. So it's kind of easy to love them, but they're amazing and they're family friends and they are just an incredible, I can't wait till they adopt. I'm not worried about those people. Who I'm worried about are the people who have mental problems, who are talking to my children. Those are the ones I have a problem with. Those are the ones that I'm challenging. So here is an advert for Montgomery County, Maryland, which is just a turdville. And I want you to watch this video, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about what the Supreme Court said today. This is a big one. This is a big topic. Here we go.
In Montgomery County, Maryland, including Muslims, Jews, and Christians, are fighting for the right to know what books teachers are reading to their kids in elementary school. In 2022, their school board introduced storybooks on sensitive topics such as pride parades, gender transitioning, and pronoun preferences. Teachers, for example, are told to tell kids that doctors guessed at their sex at birth. Parents were initially told they'd be notified and could opt their kids out when the books would be read, but then the school board went back on its word. A coalition of religious parents sued.
That is what we talked about last night. Same thing with abortion. It's going to be used in rare circumstances for emergencies. Oh, Benny. It's going to be used for rare circumstances in emergencies. So the horseshoe is right here. Look at that thing. It's fantastic. Would you like me to say it slower? Whoosh. Anyway, so this is what they always do. Abortion, same thing. Oh, you know what? Got to use it in emergency cases only. And we're like, okay, fine. We want it up to 9 months until after birth. Wait a second. You want to do what? Wait, what? What happened to in cases of emergency? Now you're celebrating and you're having the day you had an abortion birthdays? You're having cupcake birthdays and celebrating the day you murdered a child? This is how sick these fucking people are. Pardon my French. There. They're disgusting. Same thing with the LGBT community. They just want to be accepted. Hey, can you guys stop like spitting on us and hitting us at our gay bathhouses and stop being afraid that we're spreading HIV even though you were? We'll use condoms. Okay, fine. We're going to start. We're being better. We're going to stop being, promiscuous in that way. And guess what? They did. The gay communities were being devastated. And they tried and they listened and they got smart and they started protecting themselves. Good. That's wonderful. But then the LGBTQ come in and they're like, oh, well, I can be a dolphin. You're like, listen, Flipper. No, you can't. I'm a dolphin. I can't hear you. My ears are subcutaneous. I can only use my sonar bouncing off on you. And you're just like, rack, bam. You're sick. You got a problem. Let me put you out of your misery. It's too far. It's too far. You're crossing into areas you shouldn't go. Same thing with MS-13. You guys went from George Floyd, who held a knife to a woman's stomach, had more fentanyl to kill a small horse, who bounced more checks than whatever that song is. Bounce with my checks and I'm gonna get paid. Whoever sings that song. Okay, you went from him, which, I understand what happened. I get it. Derek Chauvin's a dick. No doubt about it, but so was George Floyd. And you make statues and you put on kente cloth and take a knee, all white people, by the way, and you put all the black, bless me, black caucus behind you. And it was like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, AOC. It was the whitest of the, well, AOC is still white. And then you had the entire black caucus behind you. And you're like, no, excuse me there. You guys go ahead and sit in the back, We've got the Rosa Parks section right here for you, but we need Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer front and center. And Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader is the penguin. He didn't even take a knee. He just stood up and it still looked like he was taking a knee. That guy is more wide than he is tall. It's too far. And that's what we're saying. We're not banning books. We just don't want them sold to our kids. That's not banning. It's called having something to be prohibited. Like cigarettes and guns. You don't want anyone to have a gun. You want your 12-year-old and 6-year-old to have a gun? Under proper supervision, there's nothing wrong with it.
Not trying to ban the books or change the curriculum. They just want to know when the books are read so their kids can be excused.
That's it.
By excluding parents, the school board is violating its own policies, Maryland law, and years of Supreme Court precedent. Beckett is defending their right to have a say in educating their own kids.
Wow, can't put it better than that. Simple. Keep it simple. It's a right.
Religious parents in Montgomery County, Maryland.
You have a right to audit courses for your children. You have a right to see the syllabus. You have a right to remove your kids from certain teachings. You just can't control it not being taught in school. You don't have any authority for that. Here is a quick segment. Multiple parents, hundreds of parents tried to remove their kids from some of this teaching. Maybe the problem is with the curriculum, not the parents. You ever thought about that? Here, listen to this. 2 minutes, Justice Kavanaugh. Then I've got a great one with Gorsuch.
In the country has opt-outs for all sorts of things. The county has opt-outs for all sorts of things. The other Maryland counties have opt-outs for all sorts of things. And yet for this one thing, they changed in mid-year and say no more opt-outs. I'm just not understanding feasibility.
Because acceptance of lesbian, gay, transgender, and queer, and MAPS, and two-spirit, BIPOC, whatever the frickety-frack 1619 MS-13 project, you have to accept it. And that, folks, is called indoctrination. It is not education. Education is a process where there is a give and take, a symbiotic exchange of information and reception taking place. Indoctrination is forced attrition. Forced. So it's not education. And if parents want to say, you know what? No, my kid's not going to be involved in it, then that's fine. Because if you get to decide that religion isn't okay in schools, If you get to decide that a kid can't have a gun in the back of their pickup truck, or target shooting isn't allowed at schools like it used to be, if you get to decide that home ec is sexist, if you get to decide that the American flag and the Pledge of Allegiance isn't okay, and you can put an LGBTQIASPI 432 MS-13 flag up, then what you're doing is beyond hypocritical. It has become criminal. That's it.
So again, I think what's in the record is that with respect to these books as they were deployed in the classroom, there was high absenteeism in some schools. For example, dozens of students being opted out in, I think Mr. Baxter said the average size of an elementary school in Montgomery County is 700 students. So each grade is 125. If you have dozens of students walking out, making arrangements for those students to have adequate space and supervision and alternative instruction, I think is infeasible.
But then they do it for all sorts of other opt-outs.
They don't do it for all sorts of other opt-outs. There's a limited universe of things that students can opt out from. The Family Life and Healthy Sexuality curriculum stands alone.
Hey there, Alan Schoenfield. Why are you yelling at Justice Kavanaugh? Show a little respect, groomer.
It is mandated by the state. It is something where you are able to predict precisely when the curriculum is going to be deployed. There's a
It's the most similar substantively to what we have here, and there's an opt-out allowed there. I guess I'm not understanding why Montgomery County School Board stands alone.
Yes.
I think in the country. You can tell me if there's another school board that's done something like this.
I apologize.
You should. Shut up.
The kind of books that are being used and prohibiting opt-outs. And I guess I'm just not understanding the whole goal, I think, of some of our religion precedents is to look for the win-win, to look for the situation where you can respect the religious beliefs and accommodate the religious beliefs while the state or city or whatever it may be can pursue its goals. And here, they're not asking you to change what's taught in the classroom. They're not asking you to change that at all. A lot of the rhetoric suggests that they might have, that they were trying to do that, but that's not what they're trying to do. They're only seeking to be able to walk out so that they don't have to, the parents don't have their children exposed to these things.
God, I wish Justice Kavanaugh would just be like Squee when he was, deadlifting barrels of beer. Just say this. They don't want to listen to this bullshit. They don't want their kids exposed to it. Okay? Parents have a right to decide when their kids are exposed to certain things based on their maturity level. And that's not for you to do. If 10 years ago, teachers went up and said, I want to discuss your children's vagina and their penis and decide their sexual path to maturity at 6 years old, you'd be thrown in prison. And you would be physically altered for life by the Los Chicanos, the 21st Street Gang, the Bloods and the Crips, and the Aryan Nation would ventilate your ass. Now, you get an award for Teacher of the Year. You get promoted to Admiral as an under health secretary. I'm sorry. I am done celebrating psychosis and neurosis. I'm done. I don't have to condemn you for it, but I damn well don't need to fucking celebrate it either. I'm sorry for the language, but I'm sick and tired of these people telling us what we should think and what we should do. As long as you're not lynching people, as long as you're not beating people up, as long as you're not being a racist dick or a homophobe, but you can go ahead and say, I just disagree with this. I don't want to celebrate. I don't want my kids to be a part of it. There's nothing wrong with that. There is something desperately wrong with saying that there is something wrong with that. Because now you're not just circumventing a parent's rights to decide what is best for their child. You're removing their individual rights as a citizen of this country surrounded by the First Amendment. And if you get to come into our houses when we decide to spank our kid on the butt and say that, hey, we're child abusers, or that we take away their cell phone and all of a sudden we're abusive parents, then I get to tell you when you're teaching my kids shit that they shouldn't be learning. If you disagree and you think that I'm wrong and I'm a racist, xenophobic, homophobic, chauvinist, well, I am a chauvinist. bigot, call 276-200-2105 and let me know why. Because phone lines are now open. Sorry. They were open the whole time. I just forgot to tell you. They're open. You want to call? Call. Tell me why I'm crazy. And if Bradley Abbott grows a pair between now and then, he should come on my show live because I'd love him to. But he's decided to poof. Here's the rest.
That are contrary to their own beliefs.
I understand, Your Honor, and there may well be circumstances where a school can
He was going to say can and choose selectively. All of them can. So Mr. Alan Schofield is back, Mr. Pro Groomer. You know what? I'm sure he's going to try to sue me. Go ahead. There's nothing left, okay? There's nothing left. Take it all. I dare you. Because I'm not saying anything that isn't true. And I'm seeing podcasters all across the country get sued. You know what? Do it. And I'll counter sue. I don't care. There's nothing I'm saying that isn't true. The guy's pro groomer. He wants to sexualize your kids. That's what he wants to do. Okay? Because listen to this guy. It's pathetic. You even got liberal judges telling him, hey, man, slow down a little bit, mirrored sunglasses and giving out candy at the local parking lot.
Mrs. Gorsuch? I just want to make sure I understand a few fact things and then a law question. What age do you, in Montgomery County, teach students normally about human sexuality?
I think that it begins in either 4th or 5th grade.
You think? Why don't you know, Mr. Schoenfield?
The human sexuality class.
The family life and human sexuality curriculum.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
Starts in 4th or 5th grade, you think?
So.
3rd.
Is there anything you can point us to in the record on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. And second, these books are being used in English class.
The division between English class and other things in a 2nd grade classroom doesn't really exist. You're sort of in a room with a teacher and sometimes...
No, I appreciate that. I went to 2nd grade too.
Yeah.
But it's part of the English curriculum that these books are being used in. I thought that was...
Yeah, I'm not fighting the premise. I'm just saying that
it's not the math class.
It is not.
It's not the human sexuality class.
It is certainly not the human sexuality class.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of fighting the premise that there's a neat distinction.
Okay, and they're being used in English language instruction at age 3. Some of them.
So Pride Puppy was the book that was used for the pre-kindergarten curriculum.
Yeah.
It's no longer in the curriculum.
S&M,
that's the one where they are supposed to look for
S&M, and they're supposed to hunt down a leather-clad prostitute transgender whore. I guarantee this guy's like, oh no, she's not a prostitute. This isn't sadomasochism, even though she's in a full leather suit. She's not a prostitute. She is a well, then what is she? Because either way, it's 10 ways to inappropriate.
the leather and things and bondage, things like that.
It's not bondage. It's a woman in a leather.
Sex worker, right?
No.
No?
That's not correct. No.
I read it.
It's a drag queen.
Drag queen and drag
correct.
queen.
The leather that they're pointing to is a woman in a leather jacket. And one of the words is drag queen in the search.
And they're supposed to look for those.
It is an option at the end of the book, correct?
Yeah, okay.
Right.
And you've included these in the English language curriculum rather than the human sexuality curriculum to influence students. Is that fair?
Yes.
That's what the district court found.
I think to the extent the district court found that it was to influence them towards civility. The natural consequence of being exposed
Whatever, but to influence them.
I love Gorsuch. He's just a cutthroat son of a bitch. Whatever. It's still influence. It doesn't matter the rhyme or reason. I'm not asking for the aesthetic or ancillary benefit. I'm asking you, are you trying to influence people? Yes, the answer is yes, you jackass.
The manner that I just mentioned, yes.
And responding to parents who are concerned, you agree that there was some intemperate language used.
I told you this was true. You guys didn't. I don't even know if you guys believed me as much as I've been screaming from the rooftop that these books have been all over in libraries. They won't even let me in my library for my son. They know who I am. I've been banned during. I've even asked for an audit. They won't let me in. They refuse. They have under lock and key. They will not let me. They won't let any parents in. When I did walk into the library, he's like, no, you can't go in there. I'm like, why can't I go in there? my taxes that are paying for it. It's off limits. Why? You need a chaperone. You be my chaperone. Makes you wonder what's in there, right? They know what's in there. They don't care.
I don't know that those were responding to parents who were concerned. This was after the fact for most of these comments. And this was in a very public setting, which obviously got heated, and some intemperate comments were used, certainly.
Yeah. And I wanted to understand your context that you were giving about the statement that some Muslim families, it's unfortunate that this issue puts some Muslim families on the same side of an issue as white supremacists and outright bigots. I think in response to Justice Sotomayor, you were trying to give some context to that?
I don't think I was speaking directly about that comment. I think that comment was given or was made in June, which was several months after the decision to withdraw the opt-outs was made. I don't have context for that comment now.
Okay. And then the legal question. Why isn't discrimination against religion a burden on religion? If a state, now this is hypothetical, not moving away from the record, if state actors intentionally discriminate against religion,
right?
What secular purpose, valid secular purpose, could that serve? And how wouldn't that be a burden?
So I don't know. I mean, it depends on the hypothetical, what the state is doing and whether there's a secular purpose. That's hard to imagine.
He just told you.
But if the state is discriminating
against Muslims or Catholics or Protestants or whatever,
I think this court has recognized that when an enactment that discriminates on its face, or has recognized with respect to an enactment that discriminates on its face, it is intrinsically coercive. That's how the court has performed the burden inquiry. If you are privileging one religion over another, you are coercing people to subscribe to that particular set of beliefs in order to get...
So that's a burden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Then your entire structure is burden. Because you have ideological belief and no scientific proof that being transgender is 100% a physical trait and not a mental trait. So therefore, it's an ideology. And if it is an ideology, then it is a religion, it is a belief structure, and it requires a certain leap of faith. And what you're doing is saying that our Christian values that say a man and a woman are the only ones that bed together are inferior to your interpretation of what sexuality is. So now you're a fucking hypocrite, Alan Schoenfeld. You look like a mirrored sunglass guy. So, if I'm Gorsuch, I hope Gorsuch hit him on that because I didn't hear the ending of it, but that's pretty much it. I mean, does that make sense what I'm saying here? You can't sit here and say that your ideology is superior because it's not laced in theology. It's still a leap of faith. It's still a belief that what you're saying is correct, not based on science, but based on your interpretation of the situation. This case is, in my opinion, single-handedly one of the most important things the Supreme Court will do. And they have a responsibility to protect parental rights, because the more we give away parental rights into these bureaucracies, the less connectivity and connective tissue we have to our children's development. It is already inundated with 24-hour cycles of propaganda, liberal bullshit, socialist progressive beliefs by the music, by the TV shows, indoctrination that is just running amok in everything they consume, from their cereal all the way to the clothing at Target. We are bombarded, and we cannot possibly compete with what's being inundated and force-fed into our children's minds by osmosis and determined people who want to overtake our ability to parent our children, who do not want them to believe in God, who do not want them to believe in this country and the republic for which it stands, by teaching them not to stand, by replacing history with some different version that is absolutely antithetical to what actually took place. This has to stop. And the only way it stops is for the Supreme Court to make a ruling that federally parents have a right to monitor, that parents have a right to audit, and parents have a right to request their children no longer be present in things that they do not feel are appropriate for them, such as what you do, because if they wanted to have Nazi story hour, you would strike that group down immediately. Or if you want to have an anti-Palestine group, I promise you, you guys would call them Jewish slurs under your name and kick them out of school too. But you will allow the Palestinian assholes to go ahead and make Jews' life miserable. Like, that is like not the thing that takes place ever. Can we be unique once? Can someone actually embrace the Jews? Why do you have to be so damn predictable, world? Why does everyone have to always hate them? Can anyone just pretend to like them? Well, Donald Trump sure is, and they hate him for it. And most conservatives don't have a problem with Jews. And the reason why we don't is because we know what it feels like to be subjugated to ridicule and derision and have our God made fun of, because we've been handling liberals for the last 25 years as they spit in our face and tell us that our beliefs are archaic or we're bigots. Enough's enough. Be right back, folks. Our goal, $73 to goal, $230 to go till we hit it.
The Dumb Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big Tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time, and we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or Mail, every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
Hold on, folks. We're trying to figure out... now's a great time to take a break and donate if you haven't had a chance, please. I am trying to figure out why our phone isn't working. Libya's going to try it. Sure. It's 276-200-2105. No, it's not. Can't be. I'm looking at it right now. Show me. Show me. Show me so I can see it. Hold on, folks. We got to see if we can get this work. Just let me see it, honey. Oh, that's not Wimkin. That's YouTube. So it's 276-200-2105. Can you give it a call real quick and see if it works? Yeah, phone isn't working because it's an NSA operation. I don't think my buddies in the NSA are trying to hurt me. Sorry. Everyone knows I'm a Fed. I love that. You look like a cop. You look like a military guy. You're a Fed. Okay. Yeah, I'm a Fed. That's right. As far as you know. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to get a phone call in. Trying to see if we can get this to work. Go and close it. Get on the phone with Zoom if you can. Get on Zoom. Go to their customer service. It's owner, don't unfriend me. What it usually is. Yep, and there's a 1-800 number. Tell them, come here. 1-800 is right here. Take a picture of that. 799-5926. And get on and tell them who you are and tell them we need help. And then let me know what we need to do, please, sweetheart. Thank you, baby. Do we have any donations? God, you guys are killing me again, making me wait. Oh, we got a couple. Okay, good. All right, let's get to work. We got stuff to do. Sorry, folks. This is a real show. We don't believe in that fascist crap of being perfect. We don't believe that. David Hogg. Do I like David Hogg? No, not at all. Do I think he's a hypocrite? Yeah, the guy's a Second Amendment hater, and he shoots skeet. He shoots skeet. He's got videos, him and his family, just it's like, you shoot skeet, but you don't think we should own guns? I don't think you should own an AR-15 assault rifle. Well, good, I don't own an AR-15 assault rifle. I own an Armalite rifle or a modded AR-15 with a BCM upper and a LaRue lower. And it's not an assault rifle, because assault is an action, and that rifle can't assault anybody without my intent. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't like David Hogg. I think he's a impetuous little shit. Now, compared to Harry Sisson and the Krasenstein brothers, I think David Hogg's fairly lucid. I don't think he's dumb until he talks.
It is something that has...
Until he talks. Because here's the problem. He says something so intelligent here. And I'm like, God, that's really good, David. I'm actually proud of you. And then he says something else. It's just so stupid. Here is the video. This is Jen Psaki. Oh, you want sushi? You got sushi. Listen to this. It's actually a fairly accurate and logical report on where Democrats are at.
This doesn't violate bylaws. No. It is something that has...
And other vice chairs have been involved in primaries before.
Yeah, it's something, though, that has angered traditional DNC members.
Some of them.
Some of them. I don't want to overstate. But how do you think, I mean, are you ready to put that at risk? I mean, if they said you can't do this, are you going to still...
This is a break the glass moment.
So meaning if they tell you you can't do this, you're going to leave your vice chair job?
Ultimately, if they decide to remove me, I have no control over that. I'm going to do everything in I got elected to this position to fight to win back our young people and make sure that across the board with every single demographic pretty much except the elderly and the highly educated, we lost margins this past election cycle. This is a major crisis for our party right now, and it needs to be met with the ferocity it deserves so that we're able to win back those young people, win back the margins that we lost with a lot of those demographics. And that's not going to happen with the traditional tactics of just standing by and acting like, oh, you know, let's just play our turn and let's just hope if we put $200 million behind these frontline candidates that we're just all of a sudden going to get winning again. We need bold tactics in this moment. Our base knows it. And I will tell you, although there are people in this town that this is upset, that are benefiting from the status quo, they want to do two things at the same time. They want to keep the same people in the positions of power that they're in right now, and they want to win, but we cannot do that. We have to bring in new people. So if people want to support our work, they can go to leaderswedeserve.com.
David Hogg, thank you.
Wow. Hey, thanks, JD. Was cutting grass earlier. What happened to Leroy tonight? Thanks for the show. He's on assignment, so not with us tonight. He'll be back. He has to do something with the family. Thank you for the donation, JD. I appreciate it. So he says something like that, and you're like, okay, that's pretty much accurate. Democrat Party lost major chunks of the demographics. They didn't do well at all. And he's saying we're going to primary ineffectual House members. Good. And maybe they'll remove him. Who cares? But at least it's honest. Then, oh boy, he does this. And Ryan Priebus just acts, former RNC chairman, just walks him through and traps him. And Hogg is just like, no. He wasn't like a Wimkin commercial. Sorry, wrong button. But this is his response, and it's pretty brutal. And watch this.
Got no message. They've got no movement. They've got no leader. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that. I mean, you're defending Harvard. You're traveling to El Salvador for MS-13 gang members. But here's the point. You're taking $20 million. If I'm looking at someone, my vice chair of the RNC, taking $20 million for another effort, it's $20 million out of the DNC's pocket. You can't be on the board of the Fishing and Forest company and on Greenpeace at the same time. There are places for groups to hold the party accountable. I think it's right.
Yeah, let me push back against that. This was not an MS-13 gang member, and you damn well know that.
Oh, come on.
He was not.
Okay,
and
so keep defending this guy.
The administration admitted this was wrong. In America, we have due process, and we are a land of law and order.
Oh, dude, David, seriously, bro. Cope harder, seethe. You guys are going to die on this hill. You guys think this is your George Floyd 2.0, and I am telling you, this is your Che Guevara. This guy is a creep. Wait till the women come out who he trafficked. Wait till some of them start speaking out. This is not going to end well for you liberals. I'm warning you. Awooga, awooga. Warning. Imminent crash. You guys are fucking up big doo-doo this time. Jar Jar Binks even thinks you guys are in deep trouble. Oh, Misa thinks you're going to fucking die. Yes, sir.
We are a land of law and order, and this administration is repeatedly showing time and time again they do not care about what the Supreme Court says, they do not care about the rule of law, and you cannot defend sending people to another country.
Just did a poll.
Way to shift topics, dude. Way to literally just completely red herring that son of a bitch. I mean, I'm surprised you just didn't whip out your red herring and just slap him Priebus right upside the head. There's plenty to aim for.
Other country where they
Most
don't have
Americans
rights,
think that all illegal immigrants should be deported, by the way. So you're losing your effort. So if you want to try to defend the constitutionality of deporting a illegal immigrant that's here, he took a lot of time to come after me. He's here illegally. The Intel community, every Intel community agency and the White House say he is a member of MS-13.
Hey, rights. Okay, rights.
Why won't you guys invite me to these shows? I know why you won't invite me to these shows, because I'm going to be like, what in the fuck are we talking about? You went from primarying Democrats in the House to talking about immigration? Why? Why are you moving the goalposts? What are we talking about here? I am completely 100% convinced that this guy's MS-13 or was. And the only reason he's not is because it's not convenient to be so anymore. And how do I know this? Listen, you don't get associated with gangs unless you're associated with gangs. And that's just the way it works. Because randomly a cop's going to be like, yeah, you are a gang we haven't heard about in 2017 very much. It's not like it was today. MS-13 is fairly new. Tren de Aragua is fairly new. And it wasn't on the lips of every babe running across the land in the sowed field of daisies. Okay? This wasn't like literally like on a Hallmark card. MS-13. It's everywhere. MS-13. I'm surprised they don't next to the name COVID, MS-13. COVID-13. MS style. Yo, man, I'm going to give you an upper respiratory infection, Holmes. Ale, vato, are you serious? I cannot fucking believe it. Oh, shit, cuz, I got the sniffles, Holmes. Better get my shot there, Holmes. Put it in my eye, cuz. In between my toes, we don't want my parole officer to think that I'm doing 8 balls again. Seriously, fuck. Invite me to these shows. Please, my impetuance is begging you. My intolerance for stupidity. I won't cuss. I'll clean up. I'll wear a suit. I look better in a suit than David Hogg does. Damn it, I've got pictures to prove it. I'll pull them up. Don't make me whip these out. Wait 1 second while I whip these out. Seriously. Put me on. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to be in the big game. I want to play. Put me in. Put me in. Told you. I'm ready. I would love to go on scene. Here it is. A bunch of instant reveal. Boom, boom, ba ba. Boom, ba boom, 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 ba ba. Boom, boom, ba ba. Boom, 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 ba ba. Dude, David Hogg, eat your heart out, dude. And look at that. I actually fill in the shoulders, bro. You know what that means. And other parts. When they asked him my fitted suit, they're like, sir, how does that feel? And I said, it feels great everywhere but the crotch. It's a little constricting. Do you have anything with a 12-inch gap? No, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, it's horrible. I like better in a suit than David Hogg. You know, when I was in the Barrio and I was in Ventura and I used to run on the Avenue, there was a saying of blood in and blood out, right? Get jumped in, you get jumped out. You don't leave gangs unless you get jumped out. When did that happen for him? I'm wondering. The guy's a gangster. And you know what? He doesn't deserve anyone's respect. So why are they lining up? It's simple. They can't understand anymore what to do when Donald Trump does anything. Anything. Donald Trump could take a bowel movement, and they would say, Donald Trump polluted sewers this morning with toxic waste. Now, that very well may be true because of the way he eats. Although he's losing some weight, and I think RFK is having a really good influence on him and has him stop eating McDonald's all the time. But we've said it 100 times, he can cure cancer. It doesn't matter. You know what they'd say? Donald Trump puts hundreds of thousands of doctors and researchers out of work in an effort with cancer. He saw money for cancer research that was actually tied to no results, years and decades of just nothing, and said, we're going to remove it and reinvest this money somewhere else. That's all that was decided. They didn't even cut the budget. They said, we're reinvesting it somewhere else. You want children to die of cancer. You want to abort them. Donald Trump just wants to move the money somewhere else to a more effective research center. You guys want to rip them out of a fetus with a vacuum cleaner and sell them for spare parts and remove their cells from their body and scrape their skin off and repurpose it for other uses. Give me a break, you people. Put me in the show. Put me on CNN. I'm ready to go. I'll last 30 seconds and they'll kick me off. Because nobody tells the truth anymore. Scott Jennings does. Scott Jennings is doing great because he's just funny enough to like. Explain jumped out. Blood in, blood out. Miklo. You get jumped into a gang, you get jumped out. You ever want to leave a gang? And most of it has to do with there are reasons to leave. You got to ask for a reason to leave. Most of it is going, an age thing. Could be an injury type thing. It's just like sports, really. Could be someone that has a lot of respect that did something pretty big. Usually you got to go take a life. But you get jumped out. You get your ass beat by your gangster brothers. And that's every gang. Blood in, blood out. You need my phone number? Here's my phone. He's saying to call back. Don't let him go. Anyway, not that I'm not a gang expert, but whatever. It is what it is.
The Dumb Store is veteran-owned with a 5-star diamond rating for service and satisfaction. We offer quality products like coffee, shirts, hoodies, and hats, all made by veterans. Shop with confidence, backed by hundreds of 5-star reviews.
Hi, is this Susie, my Time Life operator? Hi, God, you are the hottest sounding operator I've ever heard. How would you like to go back to my bedroom and have phone sex? I wasn't. Thanks. Yeah, just call each other on our cell phones. God, that sounds hot. Like, hi, baby. Like, hi, baby. Go ahead. Oh, so now it works? This is so cool. I can record you separately here. I can bring you in on video. This is cool. Put you on hold. This is much better. Zoom is much better. It's only $9. All right. It sounds better too. All right. I miss you. Is anyone helping with donations? Because this is pathetic. We are you know. Okay. Love you. Bye. All right. Phone lines are working if you want to call in. You want to. And that's it. Here is O'Leary. I had to cut off that commercial. Dumbshow.com. I do like hosting the show on my own sometimes. There's no doubt. I get to be more me. I don't have to facilitate. See, facilitate. I don't have to act. I just get to be me. I get to joke around and have fun. I like to joke.
If you could get a
I like
union,
to have fun.
which I think will have.
It's something that I'm at my, I don't know, somewhat best. Okay, we got to fix it. Call me back. Son of a gun. Sorry, folks. I got to fix this. Livy's going to call me back, and we're going to try to fix this real quick. Sorry, I got to get this phone working, and the only time to do it is live, because we've got to put ourselves in a live situation. Okay, are you there? Holy crap, that's coming through 5x5. Okay, hold on. Settings. Audio. Okay, test speaker. Mic is good. Test 1 2. Test. Okay. Say something again. Okay. Why is Zoom? Play sound when muting. Press and hold space keys temporarily unmute. Automatically join computer audio when joining sync button on headset advanced. All right. iMac Road. Sorry, folks. Hang tight with us. Say something.
Testing 1 2 3.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Try it again. Okay, there's eCam. Try that again. Damn it, Jim. Microphone. Can you hear me now? No. Can you hear me now? Okay, so trying to figure out what to do here. If I can't figure it out, we'll have to do it after show. But I'm gonna figure it out, hopefully. Camera source. Video. Come on, baby. Mic. Oh, God, my eyes are dry. Pro chat. Okay. ECam live. Let's go to preferences. Oh, wait a second. Nope. All right. Take that over there. Interview. Send guest to green room, lower mic, broadcast, customize interview settings. Weird. So it's got to be in the setting here. Go ahead and say something. That is not coming into eCam. Okay, so that's not working. One more time. Did you hear that? What?
I did hear that.
Everyone can hear you now, I bet. Can everyone hear Olivia? Olivia, say something.
Testing. Hello, Dumb Nation. You hear me now?
Can everyone hear Olivia? I think we got it. I'm waiting for people to confirm. Give me a confirmation.
Yes, I hear myself.
Give me, how do you hear yourself?
I've got YouTube on my computer.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Phone works, everybody there. It's fixed. Okay. Love you. Bye.
All right, we're good. Love you too.
All right. O'Leary from Shark Tank. Very, very smart guy. Everyone's saying the Dow is on track for worst April since Great Depression. Yeah, it's been a tough month. There's no doubt about it. And I think we knew that it was a possibility. But here is O'Leary in his comments.
You're making a good point. If you could get a union, which I think will happen pretty quickly, if you think about just the EU, Britain, Switzerland, Canada, and Mexico, that's about 72% of all the trade with
Thank
the
you,
U.S.
Joanne.
So that was
because PTO is awesome. I don't know. I haven't had a vacation in 4 years.
resolved. It works. The one thing I would say that I've noticed as I do business all around the world, in the Middle East and in Europe, 50% of the people in the world have Trump derangement syndrome. And they still have a really hard time understanding why he's back in the White House. And I say to them, listen, it doesn't matter. He's in the White House. We have to deal with the policy, not Trump, the policy. Let's forget about the fact that he's in the White House. There's nothing you can do about it. He was elected with a majority. Let's get over the derangement syndrome. Let's focus on the policy and get stuff done. Because I got to tell you, there's a lot of people that go out of their minds just the fact that he's back in there. And I realize it. It is what it is. But I've got to deal with it too. I mean, I just have to deal with policy. And I think you're right. If he gets this policy right and circles the wagons with the Europeans, the Mexicans and the Canadians, that's a more powerful charge against China. I totally agree with you there.
So it makes a good point. See, it's not that they hate his policies. It's not that they hate the tariffs. Liberals are always okay with more taxes. That's not what it is. It's not like they agree with 9-month abortions. All of them. Most of them don't. Most people don't embrace that. A lot of them also think that children shouldn't be exposed to sexualization. I mean, you heard that from Sotomayor today and another Supreme Court justice on the Democrat side. It's not like they're completely irrational for everything. It's not Trump's policies. It's just that it's Trump. And the derangement is to the point where they want America to fail in order to be proven right. And they are so ultimately, it's basically a microcosm of what was reflective of the way that we treated Hillary Clinton. And although, yes, the right was extremely obsessed with Hillary Clinton, not to this level. I mean, my God, these people eat, sleep, and breathe Donald Trump. They care more about him than we do. It's just the opposite way of caring about him. These people loved him. They rapped about him. They sang about him. He was in movies. They loved the guy until he ran for office. There's nothing that they can do. And I wonder, who will they be when they no longer have Donald Trump to hate? Will they invent him? People didn't even despise Romney and McCain this bad. They better figure it out. At least not till 2028. Figure it out 2028. That's fine. Not now. Oakland mayor. Oh my God, these women. Thinks a $50 minimum wage will solve inflation. Here's the video. I've got the hiccups. It's probably you guys are giving me indigestion with the goal of $93. And it's almost 8:30. Oh boy.
You're calling for a $50 an hour federal minimum wage. That's 7 times the current national minimum wage of $7.25 an hour. Can you explain how that would be economically sustainable for small businesses? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, you're going to need more than 60 seconds there, lady. Do you understand what that would do to the economy? Do you understand giving $50 an hour? Small businesses, you would lose 75% of your small businesses in California overnight. They would have to shut their doors. All restaurants, all low margin, high volume areas, Costco would have to close. Sam's Club would have to close. Most coupon-based retailers would close. Low margin, high volume, people who buy by the boatload would stop. and shut down. The only places that could afford to do it are Tiffany's and Apple. I don't even need to hear this plan and know that this lady is completely batshit crazy.
I owned and ran a small business for 11 years. I created hundreds of jobs, benefits, retirement benefits, also healthcare benefits. I know what worker productivity means, and that means that you have to make sure that your employees are taken care of and have a living wage. In the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way, came out with a report that very recently.
This is a while ago. This was a senator, but I wanted to address this specifically because this is a Democrat talking point. Notice Steve Garvey and Adam Schiff. Garvey, how do you lose to Adam Schiff? I told you to come on my show.
$127,000 for a family of four is just barely enough to get by. Another survey very recently, $104,000 for a family of one. Barely enough to get by. Low income because of the affordability crisis. And so just do the math. Just do the math. Of course, we have national minimum wages that we need to raise to a living wage. You're talking about $20, $25, fine. But I have got to be focused on what California needs and what the affordability factor is when we calculate this wage.
I love her box that she's standing on. Equality is
What
so
is going
important.
on? Don't Unfriend Me Nation. Matthew Spear.
Damn it, Matt. Sorry. Here's the thing. Why don't you make the cost of living in COLA go down? By making affordable housing. By having businesses and incentivizing them to move into the projects in Oakland and start on the outskirts where police can have an impact and slowly take over these impoverished neighborhoods. Why don't you increase your workforce by limiting the amount of people who are on food stamps? Because the reason why your cost of living is so high is because you don't have enough qualified people to buy the houses that are currently there. And what happens is that these houses ultimately get bought up and they're used as rentals. And prices have skyrocketed since COVID. Being a homeowner in California is a fucking nightmare. My parents own 7 homes in California and 7 in Georgia. Why do you think they sold the 7 in Hemet, California? The reason why is because the rights of the landlord are nil. They can do whatever they want, and they even have to get their deposit back. It doesn't matter. You in California cannot make $1 renting properties. It's just impossible. Because you can't charge enough. Because the taxes are so ungodly high. The rules and regulations for rentals are a burden to people. The small businesses are getting crushed. Unless you're in the San Fernando Valley or Bakersfield or Orange County in a conservative area, you are getting taxed to death for insurance for illegals, and literally all of your funding and all of your taxes are being spent on health care for people who aren't even citizens. Roadways and bridges aren't being repaired. You're like, wait a second, that's not true. They're not giving all the money to the illegals. Well, then tell me, why aren't the roadways and bridges? Why is every overpass literally dropping concrete every 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in rush hour? I grew up there. You don't get to tell me about what California is. I know what California used to be, and I know what California is now. And literally, I was surprised that I didn't have to check my passport going in between city and city in California. The traffic system's a nightmare. The air pollution is complete shit. The weather sucks. You get 2 years of rain and 7 years of chaotic drought. Fires coming up all the time. It's freaking cloudy for most of the day, and then you get the sunshine popping through at 1 o'clock. And then you get flocks of seagulls shitting all over your car and your house. It's not what you think. California is run down. It's old. And it's not being renovated. Honestly, I would put it right below Cuba as far as having reasonable homes that are well priced, apartments that are roomy and spacious where you can actually raise a family, and good luck. If you want to get an apartment in any major city in California, you're talking $5,000 for single bedrooms. Raising the minimum wage, all that does is going to go ahead and increase inflation. You're devaluing the dollar. You're spending money that actually isn't stimulated in the economy by any type of wealth or any type of exchange of goods. It's simply a number you've made up, and inflation will catch up, and California will move to 10 to 15% in order to compensate. And when that happens, prices of goods will go up. And to go to Good Times Hamburger or to go to a place like that, you'll spend $175 for 4 hamburgers, 4 drinks, and some French fries, because that's where we're headed. And if you think that's not true, simply go to Chick-fil-A, where you're spending $58 for a family of 4 now. Take yourself over and order a pizza, 2 large pizzas. You're going to spend $40 to $50. Go to Subway. You're knocking out $35, $40. Go to Taco Bell. It's no longer $10, $15, folks. It's $35, $40. Good luck going to McDonald's. Get yourself a Big Mac, a French fry, and a Coke, and you're looking at $7 to $8 for just that alone. The prices have skyrocketed because the cost of goods have gone up, because the dollar essentially is depreciated, because there has been an influx of money being spent that isn't real. It wasn't created from exchange of goods. It wasn't purchases. It wasn't the private sector. It was the federal government printing money ad nauseum, and it's overstimulated our economy to a point of now being a detriment. If we don't cut soon, we're not going to be worried about hamburgers. We're going to figure out how we're going to get in the bread line, or how we're going to have odd and even numbers for filling gas. Because if you think the days of Jimmy Carter aren't around the corner if we don't win in this trade war, you're wrong. Who's on the phone?
It's Mel.
Hi, Mel. What do you want to talk about, sister?
Oh, what do you think of Steve Hilton getting into the gubernatorial race in California?
Former kicker for 49ers?
No,
Who the
Steve
hell's-
Hilton, the former British whatever
Steve.
dude.
Oh, you're talking about
It's been on
the Fox News guy? That's Barry Hilton, who I was thinking
Yeah.
of. He was a punter and place kicker. I was like, holy shit, I think it's great. So you're talking about Steve Hilton, I want to go ahead and talk to you. Okay, the British guy, yeah?
Yeah.
I think he's
Yeah,
I
the one.
think he's a Yutz. Sorry.
Do you think? Well, you may think that whatever, but at this point in the California dilemma,
Yeah.
is it might not be a bad thing for him to?
No.
He's lived there for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and he loves California. So I'm like,
Does he have a chance?
I don't know if you want to throw him under the bus quite yet.
I didn't wait a
So-
second. How is me calling him a Yutz throwing him under the bus? It doesn't mean that I don't think he's a good conservative mind. I'm not inspired by him. That's all. Like, it's not a
No,
bus.
and that's true.
It's not a bus thing. I just don't appreciate.
Like,
Hold on. I just don't like his presentation style. I'm not a big fan of the English. And a Yutz is not calling him a putz. Like, a Yutz is just kind of like he's Magoo a little bit, you know? I believe that his show, when it comes on, I just turn it off because I'm not inspired by him. But do I think it's great that Republicans are running in San Francisco? Sure. Do I think they have a snowball's chance of winning? I don't think so. Do you think he's going to win?
I don't know if he's going to win, but going up against people like Barbara Lee, who is
Yeah.
an absolute
Nut
train
case.
wreck,
Yeah.
and a lot of the other ones that are now throwing their hat in. And if the cackler throws her hat in there, I'm like, well, Steve Hilton will destroy Camel Toe. Absolutely. So,
But in
if that comes
California, you
to
think
fruition-
so?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't.
California right now is in such upheaval, and I really I miss my San Francisco, San Diego days. I love that place. I really did. I was there, and I even thought if I won the lotto, I would get my condo in San Diego because I love San Diego. San Diego is my go-to place in all my military career, whatever. It's like, this is my port of call.
I love
really
San
love
Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, me too.
Right now, I'm like, I don't know if I would even consider like whatever with the Gavin Newsoms and the Barbara Lees and the rest of this like shit that's going on down there. I'm like, really? Like, no. I'm like, no.
I left California because I was adamantly against having to do a background check on every single box of ammo that I bought and having to modify my ARs every single time some uppity politician said no. And I finally just said it's not worth it for me to be here anymore. I don't think any Republican's going to win in San Francisco. I don't. And if Kamala Harris runs in San Francisco, she'll win.
She might win there, but is she going to win the whole
state?
State.
Yeah.
So yeah,
she'll win.
I don't no. I really don't hope that she does.
Oh, so do I. Of course, I don't hope she does.
I have family did have family that from Orange County in LA, and I spent a lot of time down there, and as a child and adult and whatever, spent a lot of time in the States in LA area, whatever. Like, it's not the same. Like, but back in the day, it was you don't show up early because there's going to be a gunpoint. Like, you just didn't show up early. Nowadays, it's like it's even worse. Like, and that was in the 60s. So I'm like,
yeah,
I just don't. I don't get a warm and fuzzy, and I'm really hoping that somebody like the Steve Hiltons or whatever create some kind of chaos in the voting process going, there are alternatives out there. It may not be this massive big swing or whatever to another Dem, but I'm really hoping it's not Barbara Lee, because oh my God, that thing is a train wreck.
Let's talk about it, okay? So let's get to the numbers, because it's easy to espouse and pontificate, but let's just get to the numbers, which completely just say there's not a chance in hell. Tim Walz and Kamala Harris got 80.33% of San Francisco's votes. Donald J. Trump got 15.53%. Steve Garvey got 17.6%. and 82.4% for Adam Schiff. Those are some pretty horrible candidates in Schiff and Harris. Those are some demonstrable results. When we take
and they are.
No, hold on, we're not done.
Hold
on, let's take a look. Let's take a look at California. Don't be sorry. I love it when you call. Let's take a look at California overall, and it was much closer. Of course, but not from a sense that we actually had anything that was even close to remotely predicting that it was going to go in Trump's favor. Here's the map. Pull it up together. Right. And this is why I don't think there's a snowball chance. It needs another 10 years before California will flip. If we take a look at Harris, who is single-handedly the worst candidate ever to run for president, period, end period, full stop. She got 58.5, 60%, 38%, 40% for Trump. So a 20-point swing. That is incredibly poor. Better than we expected, but that doesn't matter. Robert Kennedy got 1.2, and you can see that she got a lot of the state, but it's those coastal areas, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Jose, all the way up to San Francisco. So, and if you look at the trend, if you take a look here, in 2020, it was plus 29.2%, 28%. You're seeing massive margins, swings of it's getting a little closer, but it's still a Democratic stronghold. I don't think it's going anywhere for 10 years. Go ahead.
Well, no, and I agree with you 100% with that analysis. It is. Numbers don't lie, but I'm also, and I know you see too, there is a swing now and a bit of whatever, and the inner cities are going to swing, and they're going to, like, whatever.
Yeah, no, there's going to be, it could be a race. Sure. I just don't think Steve Hilton's the guy. Yeah. I don't think Steve Hilton's the guy. I think if you could find a Glenn Young, if you could find a Glenn Youngkin to come in, Hold on a second.
But I'm like,
Go ahead. No, never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I don't think he's the guy that's going to win or do whatever. But I'm really liking that there's these kind of conservative whatevers that are out there that have some notoriety in the virtual world or whatever, that people can go, oh, I know who that is. And that seems to be the thing. It's like, oh, I saw that guy on internet or I heard his name, like whatever. And that's how these people are rolling these days. It's not because they know whatever it's name dropping. So people like Steve, who can throw his hat in, and and the Steve Garveys and the whatever, the more these people go out there and do ground root stuff, that's where it's going to change. It has to go ground root. It has to go back.
No, but I agree with you. But if Steve Garvey didn't change it, Steve Hilton's not going to change it. Steve Garvey is a Los Angeles Dodger. He is known by every single person between the age of 45 and 75. He is the John Elway of Los Angeles.
Yes.
I grew up watching him. The only person who possibly might even be more popular would be like Oral Hershiser or Fernando Valenzuela. But even they didn't have the Steve Garvey. Ron Say was big, but he wasn't Steve Garvey. Steve Garvey was the first baseman of the Dodgers.
I'm a Dodgers fan, and I've been a Dodgers fan for like ever. Like, you laugh at me when I say I'm a Kings fan. I'm I'm a Dodgers fan. I'm a Kings fan. I have been since I've been a little kid. So even though I live in the crazy frozen north, yeah,
Mel,
because
I'm sorry, we have a delay. You and I always have this massive delay in Canada. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I said just because I live in Canada, like I have my roots are like in California. Like that's where a lot of my family is, and then I have family on the Chicago side of the other side of the country. So
yeah,
my family here, and that's why I can relate to a lot of the stuff that we've talked about over whatever or discussed or whatever or understand, is because I have roots down south, because that's where a lot of my family is from. So I'm so I'm kind of placed where I am, but I understand a lot of the dynamics on both coasts. And it really pisses me off about the Chicago side.
Yeah, of course, Chicago sucks too.
Wow.
They all suck. But listen, I never made fun of you for being a Kings fan. I used to watch the Kings when they were purple and gold. I grew up going to Los Angeles Rams game, watching Chris Floyd and Jimmy Everett throw off the back of his heel and getting picked up all day. I was a Rammies fan. I grew up in the LA Coliseum. I went to Lakers games, and I used to watch the rivalry between the Boston Celtics. I was at the Kirk Gibson walk-off game as a kid.
Yep.
So I grew up as a Dodgers fan, and only reason I became a Quebec Nordiques fan is because when Los Angeles and Quebec played, it was always like McSorley, and these fights were just incredible, and it was Luc Robitaille, and it was amazing, and having guys like Peter Forsberg when he came up, and then having Lindros, and it was always fun watching Quebec play. So whenever we went to games, I always loved Quebec. So I started following them, and then when they came to the Colorado Avalanche, it was like, oh my God, it just makes sense. And that's when I started abandoning Los Angeles teams. So I get it. I was a Los Angeles sports fan.
I know, that's why I checked in with you about the Colorado Avalanche, because that was the Quebec Nordiques, and I know them very intimately as well. And so when you say I'm an Avalanche fan, I'm like, so you're a Canadian hockey fan because they were the Nordiques.
I am. I was a Nordiques fan. I rooted for Nordiques. Yep. I rooted for them in 94, 95 before they came to the Avs, and I wanted them to win the cup, and they didn't do it. And then we got Patrick Roy, and everything kind of fell into place, and we got rid of Stéphane Fiset and sent him to the Los Angeles Kings. Go figure, it comes full circle.
I know. Patrick, who was, he's still a Canadian icon, but it is what it is. And it's Patrick Roy.
It's
but
Petrokawa. Okay, listen, I gotta go. I love you. You're the best. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
I love you.
All right, see ya.
Okay.
Mel is one of my. Thank you. Mel is one of my favorites. She knows it. She flaunts it. She gets to call in anytime she wants. Bobby is another one. Amy's another one. If she wanted to call in, anybody who wants to call in, Frank gets to call in. Kevin gets to call in. Anybody, you pick up the phone and call. We love talking to y'all. Folks, we are in desperate need. We're at 9309 out of 300. We've got 9 minutes. I want to go into overtime tonight, so I got to play the commercial. Here we go. If you were thinking of helping the show, now's the time.
The Dumb Show is built on real conversations, raw, unfiltered, and fearless. Big Tech didn't like that. Facebook pulled our funding, tried to shut us down. But for over a year, you, our incredible viewers, have kept us going. Your support, your donations, your time, it all matters. Most of you spend 10 plus hours a week with us. Compare that to Netflix, maybe 5 hours a month. We believe we're worth that time. And we hope you do too. But listen, we don't want giving to feel like a burden. We want it to feel good. So take a second to ensure you're in a good spot. If you're in a place to give, that will be amazing. If not, just liking and sharing helps more than you know. Visit thedumbshow.com/donate. Whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or Mail, every bit helps to keep us going. Dumb Nation, we appreciate you more than words can say.
Yeah, you don't stick your feet in on oceans on the East Coast. There's a lot of jellyfish, and especially in harbors. Yeah, not a good idea. You don't do it in Japan either. We would, when we were running mooring lines and to go out to sea, you would get jellyfish all over your hands, and it would spit up and get in your eyes and spray when you're bringing up the mooring lines. And ugh, God, nasty shit. I can't tell you how many times I had to pee on my foot just to stop a jellyfish sting. Surfing in California, pissing on your foot, you get used to it. Tell you what, they talked about buds when you go through buds, that if you, it's in Hell Week, you get so cold you want to pee on your buddy, and I'm like, I'm game. There's nothing better than pissing in your wetsuit when you're surfing, your winter suit. It's the greatest feeling ever. You're just like, oh, it feels so good. Yeah. It's just things that come up during this show. All right, guys. Apparently, I need to get off snail mail and go plastic. I'm a cash-only guy since my divorce. Nothing wrong with cash. We can wait. We're patient. If there's something at the mailbox, let us know. All right, folks. 9309, we got to get to it. We've got President Trump will resume collection of outstanding and defaulted student loan payments starting May 5th, 2025. Music to my ears. Sounds like he's following the Supreme Court that said it said it was unconstitutional. This sounds like he's following the Supreme Court in this one. Why? Because, well, it is unconstitutional. Joe Biden forgiving student debt. They now have to pay it back. It is going to go in effect on the 25th May 5th. So happy Cinco de Mayo, I guess. Merry Christmas.
Administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student
Someone ban Helen Espinoza, please. Thank you.
attempts.
Oh, Manhattan Beach? Manhattan Beach? Where the fuck is Manhattan Beach? Is that up north? I've surfed just about everything on the 101. Silver Strand, Pierpont, South Jetty, Carpinteria, Santa Barbara, Dog Beach, Rincon. Where the fuck is Manhattan Beach? Huntington, shot the Huntington Pier. I've either boogie boarded or surfed. I think every body of water from probably Fresno down to, and Pismo down to San Diego. And even past there. So where is it? I can't believe I don't know where Manhattan Beach is. I thought Manhattan Beach was in the harbor. Where the Manhattan Beach? California? Oh, is it? Oh, it's by Redondo? Hamilton? Is that renamed? It's by El Segundo. It's in Santa Monica. I surf Santa Monica. Malibu's right there. I mean, Torrance, Long Beach. I mean, I'm from Ventura, Thousand Oaks, Camarillo, Simi Valley area, Oxnard, Port Hueneme. I mean, I'm a surf boy from Ventura. Manhattan Beach, no shit. You're absolutely right. I guarantee I've been. It's right by Marina Del Rey. No way. Didn't know it. Has it always been Manhattan Beach? Yeah, I know Silver Strand. I know Strand and Redondo, Hermosa. Oh, it's Manhattan. Okay. South Bay. Oh, I didn't know. I had no idea. South of Santa Monica. Okay. I guarantee I've been there. I just didn't know it was Manhattan Beach. There's like fucking 7,000 beaches in California. And it's been, I don't know how many years, 30, 35 years. It's been Manhattan forever. Okay. All right. Listen, folks, I never claimed to know everything. I never said it. Here's the rest. Listen.
No student loan has been referred to collect. In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion, but fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans? The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Student loan borrowers need clarity, and we're finally giving it to them. Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections. The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers, tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages. America is $36 trillion in debt. We must get our fiscal house in order and restore common sense to our country. If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. For COVID, they stayed the execution on collections, and we had 2 credit cards that we were unable to pay when things got really, really rough. And I always came from a family where you pay your debt. They kept them out of collections. One of them just had them in write-off status, and the only reason we knew about it is today we got served with a warrant to pay, which is a civil case from JP Morgan and Chase and one of the lawyer groups. And I'm like, the guy comes to my door, and of course I've got my firearm in the small of my back and behind me right here. And guys, I don't answer the door without one. And he's like, I'm here to serve you a summons. And I said, leave it on the fucking door. And I closed the door on him. And, it's just a kid, but I don't care. Get off my property. I just drop it and leave. You don't need to hand it to me. As long as you just put it on my door and we're good. So I looked at it and I'm like, why are you taking me to court over this? This thing isn't even in collections yet. So I called him, and COVID put it on a stay, no interest, and they just locked it down. They weren't sending anything to collections. And honestly, Olivia and I just really kind of just forgot about it. It wasn't some desperate amount. So I called the lawyer, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? Now that I know about this, you didn't call, you didn't send a letter, you didn't send me a certified whatever. But we'd be happy to pay this. Let's get this done. Wouldn't call me back. So I called Chase and I said, hey, what the fuck is going on? I want to pay this debt, and I'm recording this phone call. In an effort of good faith, I'm ready to pay both cards right now since you're telling me there's another card on here that hasn't been sent. And they're like, well, we're going to take it down from X amount. And now you owe $2,000. And I said, okay, here's your $2,000, and paid it. Then they're like, thanks so much. We're very sorry. You're right. We didn't notify you. That's why we never sent it to collections. I said, well, go tell your other hand, who's your other department, because they just sent me. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is horrible, blah, blah. So we finally call them, and they're like, you need to owe us this. And I said, okay, your other department just reduced the bill by this much based upon what you guys got from COVID relief. How much did you get for COVID? He's like, well, I'm not going to disclose that. And I said, this is bullshit. You guys already got paid for this from COVID relief, and our tax dollars are paying for it. Let me pay the full amount, and we'll just call it good. And this lady's like, well, we can do this. We can do this. or otherwise you have to go to court. And I'm just like, there's people out there who want to pay their debt. And the U.S. government canceled debt without our permission. And they went in and they canceled credit card debt on people who were behind. And they ceased sending people to collections. And I think that is a horrible atrocity. And the fact that Olivia and I took care of that today, and, it hits the pocketbook, but so what? It's worth it. And it's going to help our credit score, and we get to go back. But we're in a place we can do it now. But we didn't even know that this stuff was even in collections. And when we had called Chase and said, hey, we want to square up, they said the account's suspended right now. It's not getting interest. It's in a hold status. And I'm like, okay. So my point is this is happening to people with rent. This is happening to people with credit cards. This is happening to people with loans. And now they're getting hit with this stuff. And maybe some people aren't prepared for this. So if you've had anything that because of COVID puts you in a hardship, be prepared that they're going to come for that money eventually. And you just need to be aware of it. So completely shitty. You know what I mean? Completely shitty. Anyway, wanted to give you a heads up on that. And thank God that is no longer happening. That is a good thing. A man in North Kansas City, YMCA in Missouri, reportedly entered $10.80 from Joanne Townsend. That breaks us at 100, I think. 103.89. Hey, at least we got a third there. We appreciate you. I thank you very much. And we are sitting at 9:02, and we are way behind, but I will finish the rest of the schedule. Here is, he entered a woman's locker room and exposed his penis to a 7-year-old girl and her mother. When confronted by the mother, the man reportedly said, honey, I'm a woman. I tell you what, this guy would never be able to do it again if that was my daughter. Here's the video. Crazy. They didn't cancel everybody's debt. There were certain requirements that they took care of certain companies. And if you had a credit card with that company and the debt was a certain amount, they wrote it off for the company and didn't affect you. Still hit your credit report. We had a very large credit card that was written off by Chase. And we had to fight to pay it because they said this is paid for. And I said, I don't give a shit. This is what we owe. We're paying this card. And they're like, we're not taking a payment on this. This account's been closed. And, that's it. So they wrote it off. And they got credit for it. And Chase was about to do that again on this other account. I said, bullshit. I'm paying it. You have it in collections. I can pay you. Let's work on a price. And you know what they did? They cut it down to like 15% of the cost. And the reason why they did it is because they're writing it off. So whatever loss they were going to take is what they charged me. This is what these people do. It's incredible how much money went into credit card companies. It is unfreaking believable. Here's the video.
It was less than 10 days ago when a Metro mother and her daughter had finished up swimming lessons where she says hundreds of children attended. They went to the women's locker room to change. That's when she says she heard a man's voice. She then decided to leave. But as she and her child walked out of the stall, they encountered a naked man, his privates on full display. She asked what in the world he was doing. The woman claims he said something to the effect of, quote, honey, I'm a woman. She and her child then sprinted out of the locker room. That woman spoke to Fox 4 on Monday, and she says they were not the only ones who saw.
My 11-year-old does use that locker room, especially after we go to the pool. And in there, you either have the closed down showers or you kind of try to change as quickly as possible. So it's definitely shocking and something that we'll be looking out for a little bit more.
The YMCA tells Fox 4 it's investigating the matter, saying in part, we follow all state and local laws and individuals are allowed to use the locker room or restroom that they identify with.
Oh boy.
The North Kansas City YMCA, we also have 4 private universal changing rooms available, separate from the larger shared locker rooms for anyone who prefers the privacy they offer. The police department says they are investigating a report of indecent exposure that occurred on April 12, 2025 at the YMCA located in North Kansas City, but further details were not shared.
How about you just make transgender bathrooms instead of making everyone else go through the inconvenience of using bathrooms? So it's their fault. Do you hear how they say that? Well, there's private bathrooms and family bathrooms that you can use to separate yourself and gain the privacy that they offer. What you're saying is it's my fault that somebody showed a dick to my 7-year-old? These people are This is what we're talking about. It's disgusting. You know what else is disgusting? Something worse than women's basketball. Like, I'm serious, folks. This whole women's sports thing, okay, it's never going to be successful. I don't care. Caitlin Clark, okay, great. You know what? She's a generational talent, but it still it's still unwatchable. God, I hate being sick. It's still unwatchable. So what does Europe do? They make something even more unwatchable. Women's basketball, but worse. Watch this.
Here we go, England a chance. Harton, 9 seconds. Harton again, the goal to win the gold medal. Mrs. Housby. Oh no! And it's an obstruction call. It'll be a penalty shot. Helen.
What? You've got to be shitting me. This has got to be AI. Basketball without a backboard. This should just be called ball. What is a penalty shot? And why is a penalty shot literally under the basket? And what type of blocking strategy is this? Do you have to have your foot planted? This is how shitty women are at basketball. I'm sorry. I can't stand it. Why would you make it harder? Why wouldn't you make the basket the size of a trash can?
Oh no! And it's an obstruction call. It'll be a penalty shot. Helen Housby, the gold medal. It's England's. Oh my goodness! The first time in their history have won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games.
You should be ashamed of yourself, England. Absolutely ashamed of yourselves. May God have mercy on all of your souls. It's called netball. Yeah, I'm aware. It's called shitball. That is the worst. That is the worst. That is as bad as badminton. That's not a sport. That's a joke. You have a field the size of soccer. A net that literally looks like you're out to catch butterflies. Hey, Paul Rivera, one of these days I'm going to drop the whole goal right at the beginning of the show just for your anxiety, brother. God, Paul, that would be amazing. But trust me, yeah. Woof. It gets stressful. I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. Very, very kind. This is stupid. I'm sorry. It's stupid. This isn't a sport. This is a joke. Oh, a penalty shot. Crikey. I wonder if she's going to make it. I don't know, Bob. Women kind of suck at this. You're right, Jenny. Women do suck at this. She may not be able to make a basket, but she makes a mean pot pie. Some bloke will be very happy when she retires from netball at 76. Because, listen, Bob, the requirements and stress on the human body that it takes to play netball is almost very, very comprehensively similar to sitting in a lazy boy chair for 14 hours a day and eating ice cream while you cry watching Price is Right. Deborah Boggs, God bless, 1776. It's taxing to the body. There's so much disappointment from the fans in the stand that it percolates to the floor. It emanates and disseminates into the brain. The toxicity of their suckness erodes their resolve and self-respect. Some people talk about the freshman 15. How about the netball 75? Netball. Give me a break. I gotta watch it again. It's too glorious not to. It sucks.
So here we go, England a chance. Harton, 9 seconds. Harton again, the goal to win the gold medal.
With a fucking air ball. With an air ball that any short range shooter could make in college, NBA, or in third grade. And you don't even get the rim. And do it again. What type of rebound is that? Look at that. Oh, God, a 3-inch rebound. That's amazing. She has the record in the game for a single. Oh, a triple single, folks. It's amazing. She got 1 point, 1 assist, and 1 rebound. The triple single is one of the most elusive things in netball. God, give me a break.
Oh, no! And it's an obstruction call. It'll be a penalty shot. Helen Housby, the gold medal. It's England.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, thank God that England could finally win something. Yes.
The first time in their history have won a gold medal.
Now it's getting good. Like, start kissing or something. Seriously, this is better.
Commonwealth Games. So
Do some scissors or something. This is the worst lesbian porn I've ever watched. This is horrible. Kind of like cricket or rugby. Hey, rugby now. Come on. I actually enjoy rugby. I played rugby. Got some rugby photos around here somewhere. Reverend Andy Oliver, he, him, his. Oh, dude, seriously. Come on, like the Pope wasn't bad enough, bro. Pastor of Allendale United Methodist Church in St. Petersburg, Florida, lights a candle wrapped in barbed wire in honor of alleged wife beater Kilmar Abrego Garcia during his Easter church service. We continue to pray for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who the Supreme Court has ordered must be... Oh, my God. Seriously? This is so... Here it is. Good luck stomaching this. This is worse than netball. I don't think I could have found something worse than netball so quickly. We've achieved the impossible. Here it is. I love rugby. Matt, I will buy you season tickets to women netball. Awesome. Would you also buy me from the Hysterectomy Club the buy one, get 11 months free? I just would love to go ahead and get a vasectomy. And because of my female parts too, since I have both, get a vasectomy and a hysterectomy simultaneously every month. It seems so, and a proctologist to, explore the unexplorable every month with me too. That sounds just so fun. And would you play Sinead O'Connor? Nothing compares to you while I have it done to me. That sounds fantastic. It's great. Could you spray patchouli as well? All of these things sound really good.
In a spirit of solidarity, more than 50 justice-seeking congregations around the country have been lighting a candle of peace, hope, and justice. This candle represents Christ's light shining even in the midst of barbed wire policies that wrap tighter each day.
Wrap tighter.
This morning, we light the candle of peace, hope, and justice for all who are being labeled alien enemies.
No, we don't say alien. We say illegals. Or illegal aliens, if you prefer. MS-13, they're the enemies.
And deported, shackled by fear that they will be next, or waiting for news that their loved one is okay. We continue to pray for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, whom the Supreme Court has ordered must be returned home after our government unlawfully kidnapped him to El Salvador. We lift up Arturo Suarez Trejo, who was denied the chance to meet his...
Dude, that is such poor taste. And you call yourself a church. It's such reprehensible, abhorrent, grandstanding, and using the pulpit of Christ to peddle your political nonsense. I say you should be stripped of your tax-exempt status. I think whatever church and denomination that you are a part of, you should be defrocked. And whatever the equivalent is in every other religion outside of Catholicism. Whatever denomination you are, this is shit. Send him down to Venezuela and El Salvador and see how quickly this happens.
Newborn daughter, and instead sent from Texas Detention Center to El Salvador.
Hey, Liv, do we have any more donations? Because we are well into the 9:15 hour. Please, thanks.
We remember the 236 other men living in cage-like conditions in the terrorism confinement center, despite only 32 of them having been convicted of any serious crimes. Scripture tells us that on Good Friday, Jesus promised a thief hanging beside him that they would be together in paradise. Now, while we don't expect paradise from our government, we do expect due
Holy
process.
shit. Mel, thank you. Thanks for the new call-in number. Thanks for being you, Mel. We love you. You're amazing. Mel just needs to get her ass to Virginia so I can give her a big hug. Thank you, Mel. Very nice of you. Very awesome. Such a huge contributor to the show. And all the people who help us, we appreciate you. Thank you.
While we do not need our leaders to emulate the grace of Jesus, we yearn for any official who wears a cross to speak words that mirror Jesus' mercy and compassion instead of Pontius Pilate's fear and contentment. Jesus declared, "The truth will set you free." So God, make every government official tell the truth. That these detention centers have more in common with concentration camps than with prisons. Because a prison, by definition, operates within a judicial system. A person is arrested, charged, and tried, and if found guilty, sentenced. A concentration camp, on the other hand, functions outside the law. People are detained without a trial, without conviction, held indefinitely, not for what they've done, but for who they are, for their religion, their ethnicity, their politics, or their identity as part of a group deemed a threat. And so we pray not only for justice, but for truth.
Oh my God. You know, can someone please educate these pastors and that God was merciful and God was compassionate, but God was also had no problem delving out punishment when necessary. God flipped a few tables, if I'm not mistaken. I think Jesus is emulated as a passive person who is weak because everything through his compassion was forgiven. I think sin can be forgiven, but I think the sinner will always be held into account for their actions. And there are consequences for breaking the rules of the Lord and the good book. And there are rules and processes here in the United States for breaking our rules. And although you are afforded natural and God-given rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, the form of due process applied to persons is expansive. And it is not confined to a courtroom and jury for every single nuance, like a jaywalking ticket. In the history of histories, I think I could check precedent that there's never been a full jury trial for a jaywalking ticket. I'm almost 100% sure. So why didn't you receive due process? Your Honor, for this $15 ticket, I'd like to request a jury trial. And can we sequester that jury to ensure that this case, that they are not tainted with the opinion of the media and the public so they can judge and be jurists of pure and sound mind and follow Lady Justice with a blind eye towards my guilt or innocence? Yeah, I'm sure that fucking happened one time. Yep, probably in San Francisco. But due process is defined by possibly just a form being filled out. Due process can simply be a hearing that you're not present at. Due process can be an investigation or an indictment or a grand jury. Due process could be sentencing directly as you waive your rights to a jury trial. To sit here and say that Kilmar Garcia deserved a jury trial or a judgment from a judge is ridiculous. He was heard by two judges who both found him eligible for deportation, and with enough preponderance of evidence and exculpatory evidence to malign him with a now terrorist group. And because of his association with that terrorist group and using the system of getting married and claiming asylum based upon threats that could not prove without any doubt from the courts was removed legally. And in no way, shape, or form ever did the Supreme Court say that they had to expedite or execute his return. It was simply to facilitate, and facilitate could be to be passive to ensure smooth transfer. That's facilitating. To offer a plane, to offer a vehicle, or possibly a per diem when they get back in to get on their feet, something, facilitate. To do whatever you can within your power to ensure the smooth transfer of the aforementioned order. There was no order. It was simply to facilitate if Venezuela decides to deport him back. If not, Venezuela's got him because he's a Venezuelan. Pretty easy. Pretty simple. Julius Caesar reigned for 5 years before his political allies stabbed him in the back. Trump lasted 3 months. According to the Lincoln Project, the most deranged pack ever. These guys, the boy touchers, allegedly, who had members of their cabinet and board resign over inappropriate messages to young boys, who staged tiki torch protests at Youngkin's rallies and tried to malign him with Nazis, and they had to pay for it. Nazis are so prominent in the United States, you have to pay for them now. It's such an epidemic. Oh, it's just, they're everywhere because we have to pay for them. Here is their commercial. Probably going to leave you with this tonight. Enjoy.
This time it only took 2 months before your own team started.
By the way, this lady's voice is nails on a frickin' chalkboard. Oh, my Lord.
It's funny, Donald. This time it only took 2 months before your own team started stabbing you in the back and tearing each other apart. The knives are out. Elon attacking Peter Navarro and calling him dumber than a box of rocks. Navarro blasting back. Howard Lutnick.
Lady, are you masturbating while you're reading this? Because this literally sounds like a 976 conversation I had when I was like 14. I mean, stop banging the microphone. Seriously. Seriously. Like, I'm just like, can you say it a little slower?
Fire from your own West Wing. These idiots, please. Anonymous sources, leaking.
If you say leaking one more time, I'm going to be leaking. Just letting you know.
Drip, drip, drip.
Okay, that's it. I'm done. Thank you. Holy shit. Can someone get me a wet, moist towelette, a beer, and a pillow? I'm done. I'm spent. You say that shit to a 51-year-old, we're putting the women and children to bed and going looking for dinner. I'm done. I'm ready for a nap. Cold shower, give me a nap. I'm out. Peace.
Donald. Everyone around you is fighting, Donald. Not for you, for themselves, for their power. They're all leaking to the media.
Okay, lady, I told you not to say leaking again. I'm running out of stamina. I need some vitamin E stat. Can someone get this man some liquids? 4 cc's of sodium pentothal stat.
Telling the truth about your mess, your mistakes, your embarrassing performance at everything. And while they're fighting, you're sinking. Looked at your polls lately? Don't. They're as bad as your stock market. You thought they'd be loyal to you, Donald. Are you really that naive? They're ripping you off, getting power and fame from you while leaking against you.
Oh, 3
it's
times.
Sad, Donald.
She said leaking
so
again.
Sad.
Holy shit. Lincoln Project, you guys... You got a call to porn. Seriously, I would get her doing Vivid Entertainment. I'm sure they're hiring. I've heard that's a pretty good one. Matt, according to Stephen Miller, if we brought him back and Venezuela didn't want him back out to the patient system, would send him to a random country, Egypt and Syria. Thoughts or contradictions? We have to deport back to home country. You can't just deport him to Egypt or Syria. But if Venezuela sent him back, we would have to process him and would have to send him to the next closest country that would accept him to Venezuela. Or, excuse me, El Salvador. That's the way it works. So that's what we do with people who remain in Mexico is they have to go to the next sovereign country next to them, and Mexico is it for people coming up from South America. So I don't think it's Egypt and Syria for El Salvador. Last time I checked on a map, they're not necessarily in the same ballpark. But if that chick says leaking again, I swear to God, we are going to end it with, actually, I'm going to show you this. Now, dude, holy shit, Twitter, fix your fucking variables on audio. I am so sorry. I'm getting tired and I'm cranky because I don't feel well. Send in the comments the lighting. You guys like the lighting? Do you like it like this? It's not so bright and washed out. It's a little bit more higher res and intimate. I don't know. Just tell me. Is it better? Yes, I know you see my surgery on the side of my face. And it's bad. This one. It's bad. And it goes all the way up here to here. You can really see it with the lighting. But it is what it is. Plastic surgery only lasts so much longer than old face, old body. Tell me about the lighting. What do you guys think, please? But this is awesome. I love my dog. My dog's awesome. And every day I learn how freaking smart she is. But dude, this is like next level, like ninja shit. Watch this toucan. I don't know what this is. And someone's going to tell me, oh, no, it's a megalocopus. I don't care. Okay? Lighting is better. Thank you. I agree. Much more intimate, much better. And I don't look like a weirdo. I don't look like I'm washed out. Liv looks good too. Holy shit. We got her lighted down. She always looks good. But this thing, watch how it strips this peanut. This is amazing. Like unbelievable high quality. Look at this. So it uses this tongue to depress the peanut into a position by feeling it. So it has sensories, taste, sensory, corpuscles, and everything else, but it's got a suction cup on it. His tongue has turned into a circular tube to suck the peanut and hold it where opposable thumbs ultimately would be to align the peanut in its beak. And then it's got a hooked craw, which locks the peanut in place and can move up riveted areas to de-shell it and then de-skin it, because nobody likes that brown shit around peanuts. Anyone who has that skin and says that they like it, like my grandpa used to, he buys a planter with a skin, Planters peanuts, and he would eat that shit and then no, nobody likes that shit. Intimate feet. There you go, Debbie. Happy birthday, Debbie. Did you get your message last night? Debbie, did you get your happy birthday? Let me know, Debbie. We love you. Happy birthday. Tell me you got it. If you didn't get it, we'll come back in and do it again. But watch this bird. It's amazing. Look at that. Bottom part of the beak strips off the top and doesn't take out the meat, the two nuts. Moves it off, and then you can see the peanut's exposed. Uses the suction cup tongue to align the peanut to the lower mandible, or the top mandible. Splits the peanut in half with elegance, then goes up to the top hook and skins it. Trims the edges off and eats the best part of the peanut. Because sometimes on the edges, that's where you get that sour taste where the little tip of the nut is. He shredded those and ate the part that's only good on the peanut. Because this bird is so freaking finicky, it literally trims the possible. Thank you, Debbie. We love you. Happy birthday. Holy crap. Look at this. Look at this. Trim, and eat. I'm mesmerized. I can watch this for days. likes the music too. It's so good. Some people say that about my tongue. I can lick my eyebrows. Now you know why Olivia stayed with me all these years. I'll turn it when I'm damn good and ready, all right? And then cleans out any excess to get it out of the way. Dude, talent. Now we're going to show you a video of Monica Lewinsky doing the same thing to Bill. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. This... No, Bird, shut up. Bill Maher and Charlie Kirk had an interview. Is it a toucan? It's a form of toucan. I don't know. But it's amazing, whatever he is. Here is a conversation. First of all, thank you for all the likes tonight. 123 on in normal social network, legacy media, and then obviously another 100 plus on Wimkin and Rumble. Great to see so many people. Here is a conversation just real quick.
I voted for Obama, I voted for Clinton, but the idea that I could talk to them as freely as I felt this conversation was going is emblematic to me of why the Democrats lose the elections, because they just don't feel that this is like a real person. And I know it's so weird to say that about Donald Trump, who I've said a jillion times is, a whiny little bitch. I mean, I could go through my greatest hits of like insults. But this was about getting past that and maybe seeing that if we met in person, we don't hate each other as much, and we don't. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to like pretend that's a bad thing.
No, it's how you heal.
I voted for Obama, I voted for Clinton, but the idea that I could...
So I wound up watching this segment with Bill Maher and Charlie Kirk, and I will say one thing. And I'm not trying to be negative to Charlie Kirk, because I actually very much like Charlie Kirk. Charlie, you showed up, in my opinion, pretty weak. And when it came to religion and how you handle college students, I felt that you could have taken Bill Maher to task, because as an intellectual, you have the capability, and I thought you did yourself a little bit of a disservice. You agreed with a lot, and you didn't challenge enough, in my opinion. Bill Maher is a good dude. You're a good dude. But that doesn't mean that Bill Maher doesn't deserve to be challenged to a point of ruffling some feathers. I felt he got fairly lippy and disrespectful with you around religion. I felt he got disrespectful on certain policies of Trump. I felt that the woke parts of the conversation, you guys aligned, but I think there was, I still think there was opportunity for you to challenge him on some more aggressively. The other video I have of this might help explain what I'm trying to say. And see if I can pull this up. This one, now, Bill Maher is allowed to have his feelings about Christianity. Here it is.
Well,
no, it's
true.
an important question,
well,
meaning like when they were documenting King David, like
yes.
was King David a real figure?
There are shards of it that are, I'm sure.
So Jesus was a real person?
Well, that we don't know. That is not a definitive.
Okay,
it really is not.
Like take Paul. We both agree Paul was legit and a real person. Paul was a Jew, persecuted Jews, and then had his, road to Damascus moment. Why would he do that? Except for the fact that he's crazy or like delusional. What incentive would Paul have to do that? Rich, ruling class, gave up everything.
You're saying to me, is there never a case of human delusion or mass delusion or people can?
Why there's suicide cults? Of course there are. No, I acknowledge that.
The human capacity to believe what's not true, to believe what you want to believe, is infinite. I mean, you are literally the person I'm talking about at the very beginning of the movie Religulous, because the very first scene, I'm sitting in the car and I'm saying, the movie is not a spiritual quest. I mean, that's what we told them, so they'd sign the release. The movie is me saying, I don't know how it could be that so many intelligent people can wall off a part of their mind and believe in something that part of their mind must know is not true. That's the question I'm going for in Religulous. And like, you're obviously a super smart guy.
And respectfully, you go ahead, sure. Yeah.
And again, I don't want to insult you on this. I appreciate you saying
No, I mean, Bill, have you seen me go to college campuses? There's nothing that can
but you understand my question, right?
Interestingly, ironically, I have the same struggle. I don't know how somebody as intelligent as you, and I'm not trying to offend you,
cannot believe in a virgin birth?
Time out, hold on. All of that takes faith, I acknowledge, but that all of the fine-tuning of our universe, if any of those fine-tunings were off, a famous scientist...
Some of them are off.
A famous scientist said, to believe that the universe and the earth in its current composition was an act of randomness would believe that a hurricane would go through a junkyard and assemble a 737 flight-ready Boeing.
He's wrong.
Okay, that's fine, but there are so many fine-tuning aspects to our existence that I think defy the idea that this is all randomness and all chance. Now,
you know, that's not logical. You're saying because I don't know the answer, I'm going to assume the answer must be that a divine intervention did it. That's not real.
It's just as improbable to say that you don't know the answer and you're going to give the answer that it's not probable. See, the problem with Bill Maher is that he doesn't understand that his own psychosis and stigmas that he's applied to himself towards religion are the same things he's accusing the religious of doing. Now, the one thing he did in Religious that I loved is he said, I don't know. And the reason when I went to Catholic school, when I was a young boy, and my mom was a Jew and my father was a Catholic, is that I just said, I don't know. And I liked that disposition much better than this one, where he's mocking the existence. And this would have been more authentic for him to do this in the movie because we all knew what he was saying. But he pretended that he was open-minded by saying, listen, I just don't know. And the fact that you say you do know is just as hypocritical. So I liked it when Bill Maher said the words, I just don't know. And I say those all the time. Do I think Jesus existed? Sure. Do I know that he was a healer? I don't. Do I believe in the burning bush and the talking snake and living in the belly of a whale? No, I don't. But I also understand that parables and euphemisms are used to tell stories throughout history. And when you have an omnipotent being who's trying to convey something that is so beyond their ability to comprehend, being that he is omnipotent, to people who are imperfect by design and is witnessing perfection in his glory, it would be like us trying to go out and talk to a group of ants on some remote ant hill in the Amazon and communicate with them. First of all, why would we? And second of all, how do you? And it probably would be in very simplistic terms with receptors and different smells and tastes that are based on a formula over extensive study of ants on how they move and migrate to certain targets through scent in order to convey and communicate the most basic of concepts and assume that they have enough cognitive understanding and recognition of what we are trying to convey to them in a context that would make any sense. And now you have the understanding of why God would use prophets and use humans to try to explain the unexplainable. So my job is not to sit here and tell you that I know. When I do, I do. But when I don't, I simply say, this could be or this couldn't be. I need to uncover the why. And unfortunately, the burden of proof is not on us to discern. The burden of faith is us to carry, and God will teach us the truth if there is a truth to be found. That is my understanding. So the problem I have with Charlie is I felt in this that he was scared. And I think he was scared. This is a big stage for him. This, in my opinion, is probably one of the biggest stages he's ever been on. This is bigger than Rogan, in my opinion, because he is going into the Lion's Den, one of the most staunch liberal talk shows, and has been in this game for a long time. And Bill Maher is good at debate. And he's strong at recognizing and mocking people because he's a comedian. Steve Hofstetter came on my page one time and started coming after me, and I felt I crushed him. He never came back, and he preys on Republicans like crazy. But I'll be honest, when I go on his page and I see something stupid, I want to say something, and I don't, because I'm like, I won our exchange, and I don't know if I'll win again. Because he is that good at being a comedian that he's quick and he's sharp. And the fact that I won, I kind of feel like I'm good. But Charlie Kirk, I feel, struck early and didn't strike again. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I like Charlie. I don't think that his approach of cross-legged and, finger pointed to the sky comes off as authentic. Charlie Kirk is a person who detaches himself from emotion, is very good at answering questions and make people discovering their own inequity. I don't feel he exposed Bill enough. I don't think he challenged Bill enough. And a person of faith should be able to articulate the basics of their faith to a person who does not have the mustard seed of faith that's required. That's my point. I agree. Bill is very confused. Very confused. But he is wise. He's very wise. I just don't agree with him all the time. I believe that he is finding a different version of himself. And do I believe he would be better with God in his life? Yes. Because I know that something has come over me in the last few months, and there's been many changes in my life over the last 2 decades. And the one cross that I had to bear is how I communicate with my wife sometimes. People have said it on the show, and it always pisses me off because I'm aware of it. I can be short. I can be ill-tempered. And my wife understands that. And my wife has her own faults. And trust me, they draw as much blood as my own. But there are times I'm too short and I'm condescending. And that comes with just a shorthand that we have that she doesn't deserve sometimes. And trust me, like I said, she has her own inequity and own negatives that she brings to the party. But as a conversation happened 2 weeks ago and was brought to my attention, that my daughter said, "Hey, the way you talk to mom sometimes, I don't like it. And if any man talked to me that way, I'd get pissed." And I'm like, okay. And I listened. I didn't like it. It bothered me, but my daughter and I have this type of relationship, an open, honest relationship. And I have been working on it. And when I am short, I say something. When I'm not my best version of myself, I say something. And that is something I can't do alone. Because I'm the problem. And my frustration and my anger and some of the things that I've gone through in my life, unfortunately, aren't conducive to compassion and self-discovery and touchy feelings. But it's me. I'm the issue. It's a macaw. That's right. Macaw. I knew it wasn't a parrot, and I knew it wasn't a toucan. I thought it might be a toucan, but a macaw. That is very correct. It is a macaw. I'm almost 100% positive. You're right, Kat. Congratulations. But it's my job to fix those things. But the problem with most people don't understand about your weaknesses is that they're glaring. And because they're glaring, the whole reason they're there is because you don't have the capability to fix them alone. Because once again, it's 3 inches behind your eyes is the issue. It's your brain. And whether it's PTS or anxiety or depression or TBI, whatever it is, You struggle with it because it's your problem. So I know that I haven't had any outside influence or help except for the words my daughter said, and those are played through my conscience like a muse. So something is helping me get better at that. Something's helping me praying for people and trying to, if I say I'm going to pray for you, I turn off the show, I actually pray. And even though I don't necessarily believe that it will work, I still do it because it's what I owe myself to believe in something bigger than me. So my faith isn't about the burning bush. My faith isn't about the talking snake. My faith isn't about angels and demons. My faith isn't, living in perpetuity in a kingdom of heaven or in a fiery lake of hell. My belief is that I don't know. And therefore, I need to discover what is good. Because the ramifications of being on this earth and embracing the bad, and if there is no immortality, makes that my life is a complete waste of time. Because I do believe in the good. And the Bible, and it doesn't matter whether you study ancient texts or you're a Hindu or you're a Jew or a Gentile or even an agnostic person, that you believe in something other than pessimism and derision allows you to possibly grow up in a way that you didn't think possible. And I pray for that for Bill Maher. I pray one day that he just says the following: you know what? I can't explain this in my life. Because he once in the movie said, guy said, I walked out, I've seen miracles my whole life. And Bill's like, really? Tell me about it. Tell me the miracle. I walked outside and I held out a glass and I said I wanted a glass of water and I was thirsty and it rained. And Bill's like, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. What if it was just in the weather report? How is that a miracle? And I will say the following. If I was there, I would say this to Bill Maher. Truly. It's not a miracle to you because you're too sardonic and sarcastic to have that be a miracle. Of course you wouldn't find that to be a miracle, but maybe that guy needed it to be a miracle and it put him on a different path that he needed in his life, which is really where the miracle lays. And it gave him the self-confidence and the belief in something bigger than himself that put him on a path of being happy and content, where pessimism no longer was the most prominent feeling in his life, that maybe hope and opportunity for something greater replaced the cynicism and derision in his life. Maybe that's the miracle, not the rain, not the water. The best account for this that I ever have heard is the poem Footsteps. And it is a beautiful rendition of what I'm talking about. During my biggest struggles, I walked alone and I looked down at the imprint in the sand and you were with me. But when the things got the hardest and the most challenging, Lord, there was only one set of footprints. Why did you abandon me in my time of need? And the Lord says, because during that time I was carrying you. So I don't appreciate people who disparage religion because you don't know what that person is going through and what they need to be a complete human being. And if all you need is science and weed and alcohol, then those are trivial things that consume your time in order for you to get to an eternal slumber that you will never understand or recognize because there simply is nothing for you. And what if heaven truly is the belief that's required and not necessarily the belief in one deity or one God or one book, but a belief in something other than yourself is what gives you access to eternal life? What if that's the case? And every religion that's been written has been trying to discover it. And the commonality between all people and all tribes and all genealogy of the human race and the Homo sapiens is that they have all looked to a higher power in their civilization and growth throughout time, living, dead, or extinct. That common thread is not an accident. That common thread has to be something that is programmed in our minds and bodies and souls, that we are looking for further answers. And Bill Maher has found his answer, and the answer is that there is no answer. And my answer is that I don't know. And Charlie Kirk's answer is I do know and I do believe. And all three of those are completely okay to believe in. Just understand they're different levels of investment. And one is an easy thing to do, and the others are extremely difficult. That's my take on it. And I wish Charlie Kirk would have explained that to Bill and shut him up and said, Bill, shut up for a second. The reason why you are never convinced of anything about religion is because you never let anyone talk. Shut up for a second. And I would have told him, I've been watching you for 40 years. I think you are an extremely brilliant man, but you're a pessimist and you're kind of a dick. Do you want an answer, or do you just want to laugh at me under your breath? Because if you want to laugh at me, that's fine, because I can laugh at your ridiculous fucking slick back hair that looks like you just went through a car wash. That I can reflect on your hip little look as you wear your pants low on your hip like a prison bitch. We can make fun of each other all day long. Or you can smug off, sit up, take a puff off your marijuana, take a drink of your scotch, shut up for a second, and let me answer the question. You know what Bill Maher probably would have said? And looked just like that. At least you have the balls to say it. Okay, go ahead. Because he would. But you can't walk in there meek. Because Bill Maher eats people who are meek, just like Charlie does at college campuses. All right, folks, listen, I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed the overtime. We went through a lot of overtime tonight. I appreciate the increase of $380.10. $80.10 over our goal. Tomorrow, it's going to be Olivia, myself. Amy's still on vacation. She is in Florida. So we're going to have fun. Matt, I really love the fact that you talk about the spiritual aspect of life. A true human has mind, body, and spirit. Absolutely. And can't have human qualities without all three, right? I would even throw heart in there, you know? Mind, body, spirit, and heart. But I agree, body is just as important, and we've let that go as Americans. God, health, physical health would be such an amazing event if we could actually, start taking care of ourselves. All right, guys, this is your boy Benny, and I gotta go. Just was wondering if you've seen my, my peak. Appreciate you guys. You're amazing. We'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Be there, be square. We'll have a new video in the morning, and I appreciate all of you. See ya.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.